Plat Chat Overwatch, episode 185. I'm back, guys. What?
Woo!
Custa,
He's
AVRL,
alive.
did you ruin it while I was gone? What happened?
I wasn't even
Kinda.
here, dude. I was gone the last 2 weeks as well, so.
Yeah, we've all kind of been in and out for the last like month and a half. So we're bringing everyone in, and Jack we upgraded to Danteh. So you know a couple of wins in the off season.
Yeah, welcome to the show, Danteh.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. I'm excited to get into this as a non-player.
We heard you had a free
Yeah.
time. Yeah, you had a bit of free time. You know, I don't know what happened, but you know,
yeah,
your schedule just opened up.
it's just
randomly.
been light lately. I don't know why.
What happened?
Let's talk about it, Danteh, because I mean a pretty big move from you. I don't know. Did you guys discuss it on the last episode, right? On the podcast, I'm assuming. But yeah, I'm just curious to know more about the decision, Danteh. Let's start here. You joined Team USA after quitting the Overwatch League. How's that feeling, joining Team USA?
It's exciting. You know, one of their players took a trip to Spain, so he won't be playing. Yeah, I'm excited to play with them. It's like one last thing I'll be doing. Just spend time with fans, spend time with the players. It's one last like actual event, so I'm looking forward to it.
Okay, I have a question because now there's 3 tanks. Are you on the reserves? Is there a chance we see you play Sombra? Like, is there like 2019 Danteh Sombra coming out of retirement?
I think I'm gonna be. I think I'm starting 7. That's what I like gathered. So I think they said I'll play just whatever I need to play. Like, if
are
I
you
play
practicing?
DPS. I'm just playing for fun. Like, I just play whatever I want in ranked. I'm
He's
not
a
gonna be
for fun
practicing.
player now, Johnny. They're
okay.
very rare.
Like, if I want to play Junkrat in ranked, I'm playing Junkrat in ranked. I don't care. So
The Muma approach.
yeah, maybe. I'd probably play Sombra. And then they said if there's tanks like Zarya or Doom, because like Collision Super cover like most of the tanks, but I don't think they're like insane at like heroes like Zarya Doom. So Zarya Doom, Ramatra. I can see myself playing those, but not sure yet.
Yeah, that's
You
cool, man.
practicing ball? We heard that you practice ball. Maybe you slip in there.
No, I think we forfeit on
Roll
ball. Maybe
Well,
Super is still good at ball. Super had a passable ball.
That triple boot you showed me one time, I like watched
yeah.
one scrim in the Gladiators before the season, and Danteh was practicing ball, and he's playing Wrecking Ball, he's like, messaging me, holy shit, did you see that? I just hit a triple boop, and then like 3 months later you uploaded it to Twitter.
Oh,
It
the
was-
Alta clip?
yeah,
Oh,
the Alta clip. It was crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was really funny. Good
so-
times.
Good times indeed. You also joined a collegiate team, and I guess this is like your full-time thing now. So how does look? I'm not that invested like in the collegiate scene because first of all, I'm not going to college, so like I don't understand how the college system kind of works. Are you moving to this college? Is there like a practice program? Does it take up hours of your day? What's the plan?
Yeah, so I'm moving to the college. It does have like a practice program. It's a pretty late schedule. I think during the fall semester, it's like 4 or 5 days a week, only like 2 hours a day. So it's like a pretty small commitment, and I'm trying to push for being able to stream that because I think it'd be like a good way to save time. Like I could get like the team obligation in and stream, and it's like really good for like it promotes like the college, like it shows other teams, like other contenders teams, like it promotes them. But I don't know. I feel like people are like kind of stingy about showing comps and stuff. But honestly, like, what does it matter? People are gonna leak comps anyways. Like everyone knows what everyone plays because
That's what Jake said too. And,
Yeah,
like,
so you
there's
might
a
as
lot
well
of leaks
just
going on.
make free content, and like contenders isn't like too alive these days. You might as well, honestly. So I'm gonna try to push for it. I think it mostly depends on the other teams. I know my team and staff are chill with it. So another option, like we could definitely do like in-houses because the roster is bigger this season. I think we just need to like find supports or something to pick up to play. So looking forward to that.
Cool, awesome. What are you planning to study in college?
Honestly, psychology. I'm not too sure at the moment. I'm gonna try to just do all my gen eds, get the first 2 years done, and then after I like finish all those, I'll decide on what I want to do for sure. I feel like I just don't know enough right now. I also considering like going to full-time content creation after I get my gen eds done. I just want to like different pace right now. I feel like it's like a good decision to go to college because it's just like an insane offer. Like scholarships are so good. You save so much money. I actually like we get cafeteria credit and stuff, so don't need to worry about food. So it's like actually saving so much money. It's just insane deal for very little, and I have time to stream, so it's not like I'm like throwing that away. So I want to move forward with that.
Right.
It's crazy because I always think of you as like an older player, but I just forget that you've been in the league since day one. So you went straight from basically high school to the Overwatch League. So it just never happened, and now you're like what 24 and boom, it's time.
Yeah. Another part is like I want to go to like college while to gain like more social experience, because I feel like when you're in an esports bubble for like so long, you only interact with people from esports for like I've only talked to people in esports for the last 6 years. Like I don't know the last time I was out in public and I just talked to like a random person. So I think it'll be cool to get that experience. And I'm also at like an age where it's not like totally like weird. I'm not like 30 years old, like going to college, like talking to like fucking like these little kids that just like graduated high school. So like I have a brother that just graduated high school, so he's like the age of these like people that I'm gonna be going to college with, and I feel like I can like get along with my brother now that he's like older. So I think it's a good timing for that too.
Yeah,
and it'll help me like fulfill that experience that I'm lacking. Like I'll be able to like interact with people better.
Yeah. It really opened my mind, because like obviously again I didn't know anything about like college. I was only college, but so this is kind of unrelated, but still. So J.R. Smith, who used to be like a basketball player, who played on like the Cleveland Cavaliers with LeBron and stuff like that. When he quit his NBA career, he actually went to university as well, because I guess he skipped that because like he forewent it, because he was so talented and joined the NBA immediately. But he was like in college, was like 35 years old. So I guess like, age doesn't matter. Like go get a degree to anyone out there who, doesn't matter how old you are. Like if you want to learn something, go study. Nothing holding you back.
Yeah, it for sure doesn't matter. I just want to like be able to like actually like just be like a normal student kind of, and I feel like it's not like I'm like way older.
Hello, fellow kids.
It's not like I'm like 30. So
what age were you when you started playing Overwatch? Like when Overwatch came out, was that was like 2016 you were playing?
Yeah, I was in high school. I think I was 17 years old. This was like before Overwatch League. I was just grinding like ranked season 1 and stuff. I put a lot of hours into it that high school year. I didn't really care about school that much at that time, because it was just wake up, like I get like 4 hours of sleep, wake up, go to school, take a nap, and then scrim, and then play some ranked, and then repeat. Just on full sleep deprivation. It was rough.
And you did that for 7 years, and now here we are.
Yeah, well, no, I fixed my schedule a lot. I like as soon as it was summer, I feel like I got so much better at the game, like right before Overwatch League. So thank God. Like just managing your conditions so important, getting good sleep, like eating well. So yeah.
All right. Well, we're glad you're here on the show, Danteh, and enjoy your little vacation this summer before your college experience kicks in. Before we have a lot to talk about today. We have a lot of different topics, everything ranging from the game to previewing the second half of the Overwatch League season. We got patch notes and everything. But before we get to that, it's time to talk about Manscaped. Yes, you know it. Baseball is back, guys. Anyone hyped for baseball? Okay, there we go.
Oh my God! Wait!
Okay. That did not go over well.
Yeah, what's up, Danteh?
I went to my friend's baseball game. I played soccer with him when I was younger. He pitches for the Dodgers, so that was a cool experience.
He pitches for the Dodgers? What the?
Yeah, it's crazy.
Well, I'm hyped for Manscaped as much as Danteh is hyped for baseball. So here we go. Baseball is back, and I know everyone wants to hit a home run, but you can't do that when your untrimmed bush is starting to look like Wrigley Field. That's the Chicago Cubs stadium, for anyone who Australians might not know that. Get your game on point with Manscaped, and you can start scoring on and off the field with their top-notch grooming products, trusted by 8 million men worldwide. Grab some Cracker Jacks, a hot dog, and the Lawnmower 4.0, and let's play ball. Don't forget to use the code PLATCHAT for 20% off at Manscaped, and it works with all kinds of special offers and sales too. So you can stack the sale code on top of each other. Wow, look at these pictures. This is amazing. Me sounding laggy? Shut up, Custa. Manscaped, that's the full package for your package this season. The Performance Package 4.0 checks every box and is the 5-tool star you've been searching for your balls club. To start it off, the Manscaped Lawnmower 4.0 trimmer is getting hyped as the Mike Trout of trimmers. You guys have no idea what I'm talking about. And after using it, my confidence level is sky high, in and out, to get quickly the job done in just a few minutes, something that Robert Manfred can't say anything about. I'm just saying names at this point. Also included, the Weed Whacker. This nose and ear hair trimmer provides proprietary skin-safe technology which helps prevent nicks, snags, tugs in these delicate holes. Going up to the plate against Jacob deGrom is tough enough. I don't even know who this guy is. De-hair your nostrils with the Weed Whacker 2.0 from Manscaped, so you can take your best shot at it. Rumor is that one of the league's biggest issues during the lockout was legalizing the use of ball deodorant and ball toner for players. Luckily, you don't have to worry about getting kicked out of the league for having clean and good-smelling balls with Manscaped. There you go. How many of those references did you get, AVRL?
Something about Dodgers.
That was before I even started.
Baseball.
That was before I even started.
I have a really important question. Hold on, before we move any further forward, I have a really important question related to Manscaped.
Okay.
But it is for Danteh. Now, this Manscaped is all about shaving balls. What are your general thoughts on balls, like testicles, just generally? What do you think?
Well, you know,
oh my god!
a few years ago, I had a tragic incident where I just woke up, went to a match, my balls were twisted, so my experience with balls are not that great.
That would never happen with Manscaped.
Oh,
Manscaped,
really?
Don't get it twisted.
I don't think
Manscaped.
you're legally allowed to say that your Manscaped will solve the issue of testicular torsion. I don't think you're legally allowed to say
Salomon,
that.
can we cut that out? Can we cut that out,
does
someone? That was a joke. That was a joke. I said that. That was me ad-libbing. Can we cut that out? They had nothing to do with me saying that, I promise.
Johnny, can you check the script in the Manscaped read? Is there a line in the script that says, don't get it twisted? Is that a line that exists?
Not in this one. That would be a great point, though.
Yeah.
It does say that it can reduce foot odor if you buy like the socks or sandals and stuff like that. The Lawnmower 4.0 trimmer helps reduce nicks, reduces the risk of ingrown hairs, reduces the risk of grooming accidents. There you go. And they have waterproof trimmers. So there you go. But it doesn't say.
I am scared though, because I'm like, bro, contortion just happen at any time, because at any point you're just living your life.
Yeah,
and then boom,
don't get it twisted. Boom. Manscaped, 20% off.
Yeah,
Use code PLATCHAT.
So fucked. I was ready to pound on London Spitfire. They were like awful that year. I'm like, all right, let's go. Stats boost game. And then no. Just wasn't.
And then no. And then. And
then
then
it's just nah.
Okay. All right. We're moving on. Thank you, Manscaped. We appreciate your support and always. Please check out Manscaped. They're amazing supporters of the show. We love Manscaped. All right. Moving on with the show then. So let's start with the big news. And I don't want to spend too much time on this because it's more like a PSA. But the big news this week, at least regarding like Blizzard and stuff, was that Microsoft won the court case against the FTC, which blocked this merger. You know, a bunch of like government branches making sure that, you know, mega companies aren't joining together to get a monopoly and as such in the technology gaming industry like that. So the Microsoft winning that court case, it clears the way for the merger to go through in the United States at least. And I think the only thing left kind of like barring this merge is the United Kingdom, because they also are like appealing this.
I think UK's been cleared, haven't they?
You don't need the UK, fuck them.
Yeah,
I thought they cleared the UK before the FTC, and I thought the FTC was the only one remaining.
Oh my god.
I could be wrong.
Did I get it twisted? I was pretty sure they still had the UK, but they can still, regardless whether or not they did, they can still go through with this now, as far as I understand. But if the UK is still blocking it to some extent, then they can just decide to like pull their gaming business or something like that. So like the fact that the UK is like appealing the merge, it doesn't prevent the merge per se. It's just like business stuff, money in, money out kind of thing. So so I look, I didn't prep that much before the show. I actually don't know what this means for the merge itself, whether it's like clear to just like complete now, or there is like further legal stuff that needs to go
Tell you what,
undergo.
There's one country you don't have to ask permission for this merge anymore. That's China. Hey, don't need to clear them anymore.
Well, they should. They should clear with them. But, you know,
was that a joke about the Overwatch servers? Oh, I get it.
Yeah. But
it's not just Overwatch, actually. It's not just Overwatch.
Oh, right. That is true. It will Warcraft stuff. Yeah.
I think this was the big domino that like needed to fall, like in a lot of ways. And I think it's not 100% done, but it's like, as you said, it's cleared the way for the merger to happen and like, you know, all that type of stuff. So I think it's important news. None of us are, I'm getting a phone call. None of us are lawyers or massive business people, but good news. Maybe they will save us. Please save us. We need this.
Please,
cool.
Mr. Gates, help us out.
Put the Overwatch on the battle, not the battle pass, the Xbox Game Pass.
Game Pass.
Yeah, there we go. Microsoft and UK regulators agreed to pause their Activision battle to negotiate. I haven't even read this. Microsoft won its fight against the FTC and now it's trying to make it big. Activision Blizzard acquisition work in the UK. So there you go. A little bit of an update. There's this amazing person on the competitive Overwatch Reddit who does like long write-ups about this.
Yeah, who does like long form.
Yeah. And I'm like,
That guy's a lawyer.
yeah, like why are you putting this here? But we appreciate the effort put through. It's a big thing in a way. So we'll see when they like officially complete it, if it's completing and stuff like that. But that's a big news item. I'm guessing no one has anything more to say about that. Let's jump into the game before we jump into the Overwatch League. We have the mid-season patch drop this week. Some new cool features being dropped, among them Team Q, for example. So if you want to team up in Team Q, you can do so now. But let's start with the patch itself. Now, typically when we go over the patch notes, we go down it like one by one and we talk about every single change. Don't really feel like doing that this time around because there were no like huge, massive changes in these patch notes. So I'm asking you guys to just pick your favorites. What stood out in the patch notes to you guys? And we can sort of, you know, talk a little bit about some of the most important changes.
Was that the patch note like yesterday?
Yeah.
I think it has to be Soldier. Like Soldier's like, I don't know if you've played it all since the patch, Danteh, but Soldier just like it's that time of the year where they decide to like buff Soldier for 2 months. They increase his damage by like 1 point that then like makes him really strong. Yeah. But they also gave him 10 damage on the rocket on direct hits. Plus they gave his healing field extra value, like, and it just feels like Soldier's hitting like a truck, especially when you walk into like the Mercy issue as well. Like I think a damage boosted Soldier, if they're like good, it's just like incredibly oppressive to deal with unless you're playing like a super effective dive, which usually doesn't happen in rank these days because you have a Sim and a Junkrat one trick on your team most of the games.
Yeah. Okay, this just reminds me. I will never understand how so many content creators complain about Mercy. That hero is so bad. But how do content creators
Jack? Where's Jack? We need Jaws on the show.
Wait, is he a Mercy advocate?
No, he's a Mercy hater. Jaws hates Mercy.
I hate Mercy as well personally. But
if you play ranked with Jack and he kills a Mercy or a Mercy dies on the server, his first words out of his mouth is teabagger, and that's what he does every single time. He wants to teabag every single Mercy, and he says it's like he just says it's a boring hero, and that's just like lame. But yeah, I agree with you.
So
I don't think it's very good.
People are like, "Oh, she's so OP. Like, how can I kill through her heals?" It's like, what? Just aim well. Like, it's not that hard. Just do anything. Like, just go a dive hero. Like every role can just go a hard counter hero. Any dive tank, you just win if they play Mercy. Any DPS, just play a flanker. Just like play like anything, and you just win.
Do you see a lack of Mercy at your rank? Do you see very few Mercies in your games, or?
No, I feel like they're pretty common in like top 500 games.
They're really common right now. Yeah.
Top 500
you just dominate them. You just destroy them.
I mean, yeah, if you like everyone just like uses their brain, they should win. I don't know. Like I just don't know how people complain about it. Like the other teams, like I get upset when I lose against the Mercy because I'm like, damn, they're just winning with the Mercy. Like that's just sad. It's like the worst hero in the game. Maybe not worse, but definitely not good.
Breath of fresh air.
Yeah, this is a breath of fresh air. And like the problem that like a lot of people have with the Mercy is that like she just enables one character, and then it's like it is frustrating when there's a Mercy player who's just like all they're doing is damage boosting. Like especially in top 500 games, is they just like damage boost the R player, and then it feels like oppressive to deal with. And then you run into the issue, and like Jake is the ultimate tilter with like one of these things of it's like when you just play the wrong heroes, like your teammates are just like, oh, we just need to dive the Mercy, and you're like, oh, sorry, I only play Reinhardt Symmetra, like we're just a Reinhardt Symmetra doer, and then you just like lose the game. But like that's the frustrations. But I agree with Danteh. There's a reason Mercy is not played in Al by anyone, right? Like because she straight up just dies to a good dive.
Not even a good dive.
I don't know how we
just
ended
a
up
dive. She just dies too.
Just a dive.
Okay, she does terrorize like any rank below like really good players. Because I mean, just shoot her. Except when you suck, it's hard to just shoot her. That's the truth.
Yeah, I guess that makes sense.
All right.
Okay,
You know
I'm
what?
looking at the
Most of
top
the player
500
base,
streamers then.
most of the player base, based on that, they do suck.
Yeah.
Based on the well, just shooter thing. You know, it's like, well, 99% of the player base can't do that. That's how it is.
Is there any way Soldier becomes meta after these changes? Or not even
Now?
meta, but like see some Overwatch League play if this patch were.
I
I
think
doubt it. I
he's
personally
still
doubt
going to
it.
struggle to the Sombra, right? Like, I think he's just going to get overrun. I don't know. He felt really oppressive to play against yesterday. But I don't know. What do you think, Dante? Do you think this is enough to make Soldier good? At least like as like the secondary slot?
I doubt it. I feel like any map that's like pretty strong for dive, Sombra Tracer is just going to be better. And any map where you could beat Sombra Tracer with Soldier, there's probably going to be better comps like Ramatra comp and stuff. Like I could see it being good on like the smaller maps and stuff versus dive. So maybe it'll come out there for teams that don't want to play Ramatra at all. But Ramatra comp will probably just beat it on those maps. So
Do you think it potentially, because like we saw a couple of teams like playing a little bit of Sojourn and like those little niches like here and there depending on the map, like do you think Soldier could like take that slot instead of Sojourn?
Yeah, it probably could. It's like not awful against Sombra. Like it's always been like a winnable matchup, or not winnable, but like when Soldier's like properly balanced, like historically you've seen it played against the Sombra Tracer comps and it doesn't look terrible because like he can survive better than like heroes like Cassidy, and I guess Sojourn kind of took his spot in Overwatch too, but I think he could be played a bit, but I don't know how good it'll do. I think Sombra will just win. So.
What position does the Soldier take? I mean, in the current meta is, you know, the Winston Tracer Sombra. Like you don't replace Tracer with the Soldier. You don't replace the Sombra with the Soldier either. And even you're talking about Sojourn replacements. Like, well, what maps is that going to be? Because the only times I'm seeing Sojourn being played is possibly in Circle Royale, which is back in the pool now.
Oh yeah.
And I think a lot of these maps where Sojourn might get played, you think that possibly could you see it on like is there like a Dorado or Gibraltar type deal? There's vertical mobility there that Sojourn does well with, that Soldier 76 doesn't play into at all. I'm not seeing it. Maybe if like this damage boost is just really crazy, but time will tell. I'm not confident in seeing Soldier.
I can see it on New Queen Street. That's the one map I can see it on. I feel like just having a Soldier there is so annoying. Yeah. You can just like run around and do like a lot, but you can't do that against dive. So I'm sure it'll probably work against like everyone, but like Houston or not everyone. I'm sure you can find some success sometimes, except for against like Houston and Atlanta, like these like just like crazy teams that have insane Winstons, good Sombras. Like the meta feels a lot more open until you play against them, and then you just realize that you have to perfect Sombra Tracer to win. So I think people will try them out for a little bit and then realize you just can't win. So.
I got one thing. This is where Soldier might fit in. Teams that want to play Tracer Hanzo, maybe replace the Hanzo with the Soldier, but I'm still thinking like, where's Hanzo good? Really choky positions of the map. Dragon Strike is a really good ultimate there. One-shot potential on Hanzo is still high, despite the slight nerf to the damage. You can't one-shot 250s. That's okay, though. So even then, I'm still thinking Hanzo's pretty good, but that'd be the one area where maybe there's a bit of competition between heroes. Hanzo, Soldier could be a 1-to-1.
Yeah, I could see like a few teams at least experimenting with it. That being said, I don't even know if this is the patch we're playing the Overwatch League on. I don't think so. So
I actually tried to get this question recently, and I don't think it's been announced. Like, I think it's weird if we're not going to play on this patch, but it's also this patch came so late in the game that I would be surprised if we were playing on this patch.
I mean, it'd be shitty for the Overwatch League teams to just like, hey, this is the patch. I mean, but at the same time, it would make so much more sense for the second half, right? So I don't know.
I'm surprised they didn't like give them the patch early, unless maybe they did, but I don't know. Am I still in the Overwatch League Discord?
Yeah, I actually just asked for roles. I realized. Oh no, man, I got it.
It appears I'm not in the Overwatch League Discord anymore.
You got cut.
Cold.
That's crazy.
That's it. You retired. Next thing you know, boom, out of there.
Let's move on to some other heroes just quickly here. I mean, again, these are just like pretty small changes, but they might change a few things. I want to go to Symmetra next. Solomon, if we could bring up Symmetra, please. So they made a few changes to Symmetra's damage, and also a pretty interesting change with the photon projector. So the secondary fire maximum impact damage increased from 45 to 50, maximum explosion damage from 45 to 50. So just small damage numbers. Regenerate up to 30 shield health per second when primary fire deals damage to barriers or enemies with shield health. So if you're destroying shields with Symmetra, you're gaining, it's like vampire. You just like you generate shield health
It's
yourself.
shield only lifesteal.
Is this significant or just like some niche dumb thing? What do you think?
It's the survivability a lot. I mean, that's probably one of her issues.
I played against yesterday. I don't know if you played ranked yesterday since this change came through, and like it was really useless except for this like one Symmetra that we played against on like Circuit Royale, where it's always that one fucking Symmetra that's just like, and she just beams. Like what happens is she was charging it on the Sigma shield, and then she would TP bomb into the backline, and then it feels like she just has that so much more survivability. Plus you add on extra spam damage with the right click. It just felt really... My frustration with this change is it feels like they're leaning into all the things that make Symmetra the most annoying, right? Like it's just annoying to play against because she's just spamming down chokes. She's just like beaming down the left click. So she's just like TP bombing people, which I just don't find very interesting. When they talked about like moving her focus away from her turrets, I didn't think it was going to be this.
They nerfed damage.
I'm not in love with it.
I was gonna say the turret buff that like you can see. Like I think it gives you wall hacks on them, like Sombra kind of.
Yep.
I think that's actually like a pretty big buff. Like just your teammate, like 4 other people knowing exactly where someone is. Like you can just have like I feel like people aren't going to use turrets like how they used to. Like they're just gonna have like the most random ones, and they'll just give like walls to people. Like it'll be like really good for like scouting flanks and stuff. Because like if it hits like a Tracer or something, like everyone's gonna know where Tracer is or something, and like. It's more like a Widow Venom mine now, and you have 3 of them, so I think it could be useful against like dive and stuff, especially with the Winston or like Winston bubble. You can heal 30 per thing, so it could be better. Like the Ryan Rush comps could be better against a lot more comps because of stuff like that.
Yeah,
Ryan's gonna get fucked.
It says in the comments that Symmetra is exceptionally map dependent. Well, considering that we have a pretty, stale meta right now, at least in the Overwatch League, where there's a lot of Tracer and Sombra, I welcome some Symmetra on a few rounds here and there, just for the sake of variety, even if it is Symmetra comp. So who knows what will come of this. What other heroes do you want to talk about? Do you want to talk about Torbjorn? Where do you want to go next here? Custa, you said you played some ranked yesterday. What did you notice? Reinhardt? Do you want to go to Reinhardt? I mean, they buffed the shield from 1200 to 1400.
Oh, Reinhardt's back.
I think
Is he
help.
No, he said bad, right?
Yeah. Oh, I thought he said bad.
I want to ask Hardy. DM Hardy real quick. Is Ryan back or not?
No, there's no way. There's the Zen Discord orb as well, which because like that they said they were gonna rework Zen Discord orb, so I thought they were gonna mess with numbers and stuff like that, but it doesn't really, because in my opinion, the Discord orb is incredibly oppressive against tanks primarily. That's one of the biggest frustrations that people have, is that you just fucking die when there's a Zenyatta on the field. But I don't think any of these changes heavily affect or change that problem. It's just kind of an annoying thing of like, now I can't Discord all people, like usually DPS from really far away, and that I can't see the line of sight. So I don't know, like the Zenyatta, I wish the Zenyatta change was a little bit bigger.
Real quick for the audio listeners out there, Danteh, for the audio listeners, just maximum of the changes are for Discord. Maximum range reduced from 40 to 30 meters, so it's a shorter range on the Discord orb, and also the time to wear off the target when not line of sight reduced from 2 seconds to 1.5 seconds. So it's easier to get it off. Yeah, go ahead, Danteh.
I feel like the changes, like, they don't make much sense, honestly. Like, I think Zen isn't a good hero in Overwatch 2. The only time he was good was when he had 225 HP and Sombra wasn't a playable hero. Assuming Sombra's playable, Zen should never be an option. Like, I don't know, Sombra's just way too good against him. Zen cannot survive against dive at all. I guess the changes like make him less annoying to play on tank. Like the changes are pretty significant actually. Like just being out of LOS for like half a second, like sometimes that's like they'll just cleanse it, and if they're too far to put it back on you, that's like nice because that means that they're somewhat like in damage range. So I think the changes do make they make it a little bit easier for tank, but it's just I don't know, Zen's not a good hero. So. Like if other team has a Tracer or a Sombra or any dive tank, it's like Zen shouldn't be good. So
yeah. They spoke about changing Sombra, right, and reworking her somewhat, but now we're kind of just dealing with how strong Sombra is. Do you
I
think?
assume that's season 6.
No, that's coming way later.
Way later?
Really?
Yep.
Oh, here we go.
Yep.
Way later for Sombra changes. Well, people were hoping. I saw in the comments, people were hoping for some Sombra changes because it is kind of oppressive, especially at like the highest level. Do you think? This is a pretty controversial topic. Do you think Tracer needs some changes? Is Tracer out of line?
Honestly, okay, so I feel like the game is like more fun when Tracer. Like, I'm just biased because I love Tracer. She's such a fun hero.
Sure. Yep.
Like super fast paced, super high skill cap. But I think the meta would diversify if Tracer wasn't played. I don't know. I was reading Junk Buck's like thread on Twitter. I was thinking about back to last season, and when Tracer is just good against everything and good with any sorts of dive comp, and even good in like Sigma comps and stuff. So it feels like a consistent pick that can always beat anything and allows you to beat anything. So I think when she's nerfed, it makes it a lot more tricky for making comps, and it makes a lot of random comps shine and stuff. Because like if the second best diver is like Genji or something, then it like makes like Zarya and Winston like way better. I guess Winston's already like always good, but perma pick. But it does change the meta a lot. So I think if she got nerfed, it would be probably good for meta diversity. Because then like Sombra Tracer wouldn't beat everything everywhere. Like you'd have to play other heroes, and the other heroes just generally have more weaknesses than Tracer. So
Avril, I don't know
I
if
think
you're with
Tracer-
us. I know you have thoughts on this.
Is it me? Yeah, I think
Avril's
Tracer
mic
is like.
muted for me. I don't
Am
know
I
if you
lagging
guys-
out?
Oh, now you're
Am I
back.
lagging out?
Now you're back.
I'm good.
Sorry. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I was just gonna say, like, I think Tracer looks really broken in the hands of Overwatch League players. Like the top 20 Tracer players in the world. It's kind of like Widowmaker, right? They make this hero look incredibly busted. I don't know. Maybe this is where Scott can weigh in on the rank side of things. I don't know if Tracer's that busted and ranked. Again, maybe if it's in the hands of an OWL player. But outside of that, Tracer really that rampant. She just got nerfed again, didn't she? She got a range nerf, like the spread
But
changed again.
those change are all, it feels like they're fixing bug after bug and then they're like changing the numbers, but like it doesn't feel like it's changing the thing that they say it's changing, because they're like, oh, fix the bug, so
Like,
we
what
changed
do-
this, and
what
we're
do
like, well, I
people
don't know what
want-
that did then.
What do people want Tracer to be? Like the people that complain about Tracer, like did they just not want her to be meta? Because I think that's a little bit like what does that kind of mean? That you're just forcing meta? Like that's just hero pools. Like you're just enforcing hero pools if you're doing that.
I mean, I think
what do people
the
actually
goal would be that she's an option. If you want as a team to play like Winston dive, or I don't care, ball dive or something, or control a flank, like Tracer is viable. But I think people right now, at least, you know, as people do, they get fed up with a certain meta, and we've had a meta now for half a season of the Overwatch League, and people are just a bit tired of mandatory Tracer, I think, whereas people would like to see the
Okay, I have a
option to try
solution.
other stuff.
I have a solution. Here's how you can try this stuff. You can change some of the nerfs to Genji and bring Genji back in the mix. Have some other options. Like you could have a situation where you could be like Sombra Genji. It doesn't have to be Sombra Tracer. Part of the reason is like they've nerfed a bunch of other dive heroes. Consider that. I mean, like people just, if you just want to see Tracer nerfed, first of all, people have to think about what a nerf to Tracer looks like, because if you touch her damage even a little bit more, she could just get deleted from meta. I remember in alpha they were like tuning damage and they slightly over-tuned damage. I don't know, like you have to tune Tracer's damage, not even by like full integers, by like halves. Like a half point damage lower, a half point damage higher, etc. You can't even do full values because it's that intricate.
Yeah.
Very difficult hero to balance.
Another issue that you're talking about, you said like just buff heroes like Genji, but I feel like a big issue with just how Overwatch is, like Overwatch League compared to like actual like ranked Overwatch, is the game's just like a completely different game. Like you buff Genji, like do like 2 small buffs, and it's just OP at low ranks because no one can shoot a blade. Like people just have the inability to shoot Genji blade. So there's always this issue where they're always balancing around like the ranked player base, and heroes like Tracer, Sombra, Winston, they like just never get touched because people just aren't good enough at them at a rank level, and they always have bad win rates in ranked because people just aren't good enough at them. But then there's heroes like Genji where it'll be like pretty bad but have like a decent win rate just because like the game's so different at low ranks. So I feel like that's like a big issue with how the game is like balanced. It kind of sucks because like I see why they want to do it like that. But as an Overwatch League player, there's been like so many stale metas just because they don't want to touch like Brig because her win rate's like fine in like Plat. So I don't know. I think that's like a pretty big issue with the game. Well, not like with the game, I guess, just like with the league. I guess it is an issue for both, but
I just think the variance between an Overwatch League player and the value they can get out of that Tracer Genji compared to the average gamer is like, that's the problem. Is it's like an enormous fucking chasm. Like Tracer, from what I've heard, is not as oppressive at medium to low ranks because if your movement isn't as good, your aiming's not as good, you don't have that kind of power. But in top 500 at the highest ranks, usually if your Tracer player is like dramatically better than the other one and is just like probably the best, like the highest player in the server, they usually win the game because like they just run through everybody and like it's hard to deal with in my opinion. So I feel like that's a major issue, is that, as Danteh said, you can't balance for the top end because then it doesn't really affect the mid, like the casual player base. But if you balance for the casual player base, as Danteh said, we end up playing Tracer Sombra forever because those heroes just aren't going to have that win rate in ranked. So it's a weird balancing act that I think they're trying to go back and forth on. To answer your original question, I really like Tracer. I think she like embodies what makes Overwatch. I'm with Danteh. Like I'm kind of like a simp for Tracer. And she has been meta since the beginning of time, but you very rarely see people complaining a lot about Tracer, and that's because people like Tracer, and they like watching Tracer, in my opinion. Even though she has been meta, she's probably been the most meta character of any character in Overwatch in its history, and people are just starting to like talk about maybe Tracer is the problem that we see stale metas.
I like Tracer. I'm Tracer pilled as well. I think we all are, but like she's good for the game. If Tracer's good in Overwatch, generally, I think Overwatch is a better game, like especially at the pro level. If Tracer's not in the meta, I don't like the metas that Tracer's not in. Like a full brawl only meta. Like I'm the biggest GOAT hater in the world. No Tracer, boring game. I like seeing Tracer in the game personally. It's just a very hard. I don't know how you balance this character. Like people can make suggestions, but like this is a super difficult character to balance. And
Wait, I can't hear.
Again, every meta that Tracer's not been in, I've disliked.
I can hear you, Avril.
Oh, okay.
It's done. It's done.
Yeah, I hear you.
So, yeah.
It's my connection to Danteh sucks. Sometimes
Okay,
I can't hear him. Sometimes he can't hear me.
What is happening? We're having some tech difficulties with our recording website software today. So apologies to everyone out there because it's a bit all over the place. Avril especially seems to be struggling. Custa was out earlier with some lagging. So apologies to everyone out there for the tech issues. But yeah, Avril, you seem to be back now.
Let me just summarize my final comment about Tracer is look at my background. It's Danteh's Tracer guide, baby. Let's go.
When was that video from? Is that back like it's old school? Is that San Francisco Shock Danteh?
No, it's like 3 years
Overwatch 2,
ago, 2 years ago.
really?
No, it was before Overwatch 2.
That's an Overwatch 2 logo though. Overwatch 2 Tracer. That's
Is it?
Yeah.
I don't think. Oh yeah, it's probably like after like BlizzCon or something.
Oh yeah.
When it got shown like 4 years ago.
4 years ago. Back when we had talent trees. All right. I think that kind of concludes it for the patch notes, unless you have anything else. Obviously, there are more changes here, but nothing that like really, is like game changing by any means. They seem to be having more like small number adjustments more than overarching changes, especially for a mid-season patch. So
Orisa is gonna be back soon. Not this patch, but
I agree.
Two more small buffs and she's back. I'm telling you, she's still like 2 weak, but like as soon as they add like 50 more HP to her fortify or something, which will inevitably happen because she's gonna go from just trash to like really good again. So I'm excited for that.
As soon as she
Orisa's
gets
also
back to
fun.
that point of unkillable, right? Because like Danteh actually talked about this when Orisa was originally nerfed of the fortify 50% to 40%. He's like, that damage also gets applied to the overhealth that you get. So it's actually like a huge nerf when that fortify changed. So, and the developers do this all the time where they like slowly renege on things and then power creep happens. And then all of a sudden something becomes overpowered. So I agree with Danteh. Orisa is slowly getting stronger and stronger. And it'll just take time before people are like, oh, maybe Orisa's really, really strong and we just don't realize it.
Yeah, like last patch, I think they buffed the damage. So I think just like if she has a little bit more survivability, she can be really like strong actually. So, but just not yet. Also, the Ramacha change, it's actually a big change. Like it's so annoying when you throw your slow at like a Winston and it just bounces off him like 3 times and he jumps past it. It's like, oh, okay. So that won't happen anymore. It'll just work on them. So I don't know. It happens so much. Like, you try to throw your slow at someone and it just bounces off them and they just walk away from it. It was awful.
All right.
Yeah.
Any other changes, my guys? Otherwise, we'll move on with the show. We
Team Q? Do we talk about that? Or we have already?
what do you
I
want
don't
to
know
say
if we
about
have
Team
talked.
Q, my guy? It's gonna be a fun test. That's for sure.
I can't wait to see some scrims in Team Q. I can't wait to see full Overwatch League teams scrim each other in Team Q.
I mean, I
Because
hope
they
we
will
get
inevitably
that, yeah.
queue into each other.
I
Good
don't think
content.
you'll see
That'll be good
Overwatch League
content.
players playing Team Q.
Why not?
Because why would they play Team Q? Like, because
Fun?
first of all, they would need 5 other Overwatch League players to play against them. And I don't think people are going to queue up, and I think queues are going to get really long, so they're just not going to do it.
No. They said that the ranks don't matter. You can get queued into anybody.
But then why are they playing it? They're literally just going to booty bop anyone they get queued into then.
The Overwatch League players would have such a high collective SR that like they would have no opponents, right?
Yeah, like that's it. Like this is not made for the high ranks. Like this is made for, you know, you have that friend who's 3000 SR with that friend who's like 1000 SR. Oh, sorry, I'm talking like old school SR system where you just have friends that want to play together, and now they can actually play together, like in a meaningful way.
Yep.
But I assume queues will be an hour.
I for one would love to get carried.
Yeah. You know, because look, they said that they would treat this as a test, right, for future tournament systems and stuff like that. So we kind of desperately need a team queue to pop off, just to incentivize the developers to implement some kind of tournament mode down the line. Because if this is ultimately a bit of a failure, there's no like real interest, and the data isn't that enticing, then I just simply don't think they're going to pursue a tournament mode with all the time that takes to form, just like the format, but also developing, coding, writing, stuff like that. So I kind of desperately feel like this has to be successful for something that I want, which is tournament mode down the line.
I hope it's successful. I hope.
Yeah. Please queue this and not mystery heroes and open queue. Like if you're queuing open queue, like get out, get into team queue instead. What are you doing? Yeah. All right. So moving into Overwatch League stuff a little bit here. I want to talk about some of the transfer changes the past week before we get into talking about teams specifically and their kind of like their outlook before the second half of the season. So we had a few items this past week that went down in the Overwatch League. One of which was that San Francisco Shock, they dropped Heesang, which I guess was a little bit surprising considering how hyped Heesang was going into this year. But the Vancouver Titans, they are in desperate need of a player after another classic Overwatch League case of players being just fucking morons. So goodbye Aspire and welcome Heesang to the Vancouver Titans. This is an exciting pickup. I mean, this is kind of like a bit of a meme tweet. Like if you sent me this tweet in like February, I would have been like, what are you talking about? Like this is like some fake account. But Heesang is really joining the Vancouver Titans. I'm teaming up with them. So pretty exciting pickup. Danteh, I assume you scrimmed versus San Francisco Shock a few times and played against Heesang. What do you think about Heesang as a player?
Honestly think Heesang was pretty underwhelming this year. I don't know. I think it was just the Shock environment. I feel like some players just can't shine that well in a certain environment. And I don't know like what happened internally with Shock and stuff, but it did seem like a lot of them like weren't playing like how they should be. So I imagine like a lot of it has to do with like mental and stuff. So I think he could be very good on another team. I don't know. I think Shock had like a lot of unfortunate things like with their like org and housing and stuff before the season. Like they barely got here when the season was starting, and then when you have like a bad start, I think it's like hard. I know that the Shock coaches are like really strict and they can be like pretty toxic. So I feel like all those things combined, it just led to like people not playing like themselves. And when you're like hesitating and like just overthinking stuff, like you can go from like a really good player to like below average. So hopefully he does better on Vancouver, because I think like in contenders he always looked like insane. Hopefully he just does better in this environment.
I got something to add. Yeah, look, Heesang on Shock, to me, it doesn't work because they don't have a hit scan player.
Yeah,
this to me, I've said this before, is a near identical case to Chengdu last year with Leave and Jinmu. Two flex DPS players, no real hit scan, and they both cover each other's hero pools, and it just gets awkward. Like, can both Leave and proper play some hit scan? Yeah, is it their preferred role? No, not really. So when they had Kilo on the team, it made sense. Kilo, Heesang, proper, great trio. No more Kilo and no hit scan to replace them. Really awkward scenario. Doesn't work. So to me, I'm not that surprised. You're not going to get rid of Proper. Proper is like the guy on that team. He's staying. He's not leaving. Heesang's unfortunately then ends up being the guy that sort of needs to go. Would he have been the first player I would have looked at on the team? I would have looked at the supports, but I think there's rumors that will change anyway. But I think this is positive for the Shock. They have not announced, by the way, a replacement for Heesang, right? If I'm not mistaken. they
have
still
not.
need a DPS too.
Yep.
So they still need a hit scan. Whoever Shot get, I hope they get an actual hit scan play because that's what they need. So, Striker, where you at? No, but I don't know. Somebody that maybe Kilo can come back. I don't know. They rumored Arns. Prober's been rumored. Been a bunch of rumors. And counterintelligence officers. I don't know what leaks are true anymore. Then maybe they're all fake. Who knows? But this news doesn't surprise me. What I'm a little bit surprised by is, okay, he goes on to Titans, but what is he filling into? Because now, doesn't he run into the same issue he had on Shock where with Sugar-Free Heesang, isn't that just 2 flicks DPS again? No real hit scan on this team. Now, right now, if you're just playing Tracer Sombra, right now, if it's just Tracer Sombra, maybe it's fine, but could get awkward. I mean, Heesang might just repeat history again on the Titans if things don't go well.
Yeah, I think the difference is, I think it's like a really, really similar situation, but I kind of feel like he'd be the preferred Tracer player because it just feels so bad like not having proper on Tracer. But Sugar-Free, well, I think he's like really talented, but I don't think he's like proper on Tracer. So I think they'd be like more content with having Sugar-Free grind Sombra and try to get good at that. So I think it could make sense. I mean, Sombra Tracer is perma-picked. I think they might run into issues if like Ramacha comp gets stronger and it's like a hit scan comp. Who knows? Because then like Sugar-Free probably has to play the May. I don't know. Maybe I don't see Sugar-Free playing like hard hit scan like Kree or Cass or anything like that. So I kind of feel like it'll have to be Heesang, but who knows? I think their Sombra Tracer will look good for sure though.
I think that's really the reality of it. Heesang was probably the best player that they could get. Yes, there's roster issues of like who plays what in any given meta, but if you're looking at the writing on the wall right now, it's a good bet to just go, hey, they can play Sombra Tracer at a high level if we just sort of like full commit to this. So I like the signing. I think it's probably the best they're going to get in the middle of the season, even though it does have its own issues.
Yeah, and I mean, it's also, I mean, I don't know what the contract situation is like. Maybe they just have him for the rest of the year, but Heesang is one of those talents that if you could lock him down for next season too, I think the Vancouver Titans would be very interested in that. So depends on the contract situation, but he is probably the best player around, right? So you do want him on your team.
Where's he playing from? Because Vancouver are in Canada, right? And he probably doesn't have a Canadian visa. And he can't stay in, well, he technically can't stay in the States. I'm going to stop talking.
I don't know either. I don't know
Hey,
either.
dude, apparently you can get a Canadian visa
Who knows?
on Speedlight. Look at Toronto. You can get a Canadian visa on like you can get that.
Yeah,
shit
apparently
so quick
Canada's
now,
just throwing them out. They're giving them away.
Yeah, they just
He can just go
pass them out to
illegally
anybody
too.
who wants
Like
one.
who's gonna know?
Danteh, no, we're gonna move on.
Don't say that. We are not affiliated with Danteh in any way. He's a guest on the show. We do not endorse those statements by Danteh.
He does not represent the company.
Esports 2014. Good times. Good times. Yeah. Yeah. If you work, you should probably have a work visa. Just saying. Just putting it out there. A few other changes also happened. New York Excelsior, they made some changes in their backline. Letting go of Lep and was it Onion? I need to double check.
No, it was Lep and Halo.
Oh, sorry. Lep and Halo. There you go. Let go of them and signed Ojee, who was dropped or left the Toronto Defiant. Obviously, Toronto Defiant disappointed in the first half of the season, so now Ojee tries a new destination in the New York Excelsior and becomes the de facto Lucio player for this team now, alongside Creative and Onion in the backline. So interesting to see how this goes.
I thought Ojee was done. I thought Ojee said he retired.
It seemed like it.
I'm surprised Ojee's back personally.
Collegiate path, but no,
Hey,
he's back
I'll
at
take
the
that. I'll take it.
Excelsior.
I'm happy to see him.
Yeah, I feel like he wasn't really like I'm friends with him. I feel like he still wanted to compete at heart. So it's not really surprising for me. I feel like a lot of players, well, only like 1 year isn't that like long to be satisfied. I feel like you need at least 2 or 3 years to feel like, oh, like I'm like content with how long my career was. So it doesn't really surprise me, honestly. Even if I didn't know him, I still feel like he had like a lot of hype and he just grinds the game a lot. So it makes sense to me that he's coming back.
It also, like, I'm sure he was like, I don't want to go back to contenders. I'm sure that was his mindset of like, I'm not going to go back to contenders. I'm not going to go play a law thing, try and grind my way back up to the league. So I think if he wasn't getting an offer from, honestly, New York Excelsior are making smart moves. The addition of Ojee, I actually like their team is playing somewhat well. Like there's some upside to him joining this team. And if they're promising him a starting spot, which is pretty locked in considering they dropped the only other two main supports that they had. So if you're Ojee, I think this is a good move to sort of like one last ride, and you never know what could happen, right? So
it's this or collegiate. So.
Yeah. But collegiate, you know, I don't think there are many people who are going to collegiate right now who are trying to get out, right? Like a lot of people are going to collegiate to sort of like start competing in collegiate, go to, go get a degree just like Danteh, right? But that doesn't mean no one's really going to collegiate to be like, then that's my step forward into, the Overwatch League.
Yeah. Right. I think that's why he didn't go collegiate. I think his heart, like he just still wants to compete. And I also think he doesn't really have the option to stream because he never seemed like much of a streamer. He didn't stream much, doesn't have the hours in it. For people like Sam and stuff, I could like really see him streaming because he has put in like a good amount of hours. He's getting like more viewers now. So it just makes a lot of sense that Ojee's like returning to the league.
Yeah, and I think it's a pretty promising like roster. New York Excelsior, they obviously didn't have like great results in the first half of the season, but I don't know why, if it's just like I've been away for a few weeks now, and so I'm not constantly reminded daily by how awful like Valiant and Vegas and New York were. But like even Vegas moves that I'm sure you guys discussed previously, like I'm just like, I'll give them a chance. We'll see what Vegas are cooking. I'm curious to see what New York Excelsior are doing with Ojee here in the backline now. So I'm gonna give them a chance to impress on me in the second half of the season. I'm not just gonna pick them to the wayside and ignore them. So I'm looking forward to see what Ojee can do on this roster. Moving on, another team that struggled in the first half of the season that didn't have the best results. Also did some changes here. The London Spitfire. They dropped the two members that joined going into this season, both Skairipa and Lethal. It seemed like Lethal, they were sort of sending forward somehow. Thanks for giving it all in the first half of the season. Best of luck with where your journey takes you next. They made it sound like he was joining a different Overwatch League team, but then I think he joined a contenders team, so who knows. But yeah, Skairipa and Lethal dropped here. I'm curious if this is like a salary kind of move from London Spitfire, because we all know they have limited budget when it comes to picking between coaches, players. How do we round out this roster? How do we make the most out of this roster? I'm curious if there is something coming for the London Spitfire in maybe taking... No,
Christopher actually did an interview with Yiska.
Oh, he did, yeah.
Christopher, he did. And I don't know if I got all the way through it, but from what he said, they're skimming down their roster, essentially. And I actually like this idea. Like, having depth with more players is great, but one of the things that made the Spitfire great last year is they had their core, they played around that, and they played to the strengths of those players. While I think a lot of the weaknesses that the Spitfire have had this season is they're mixing and matching players, they're going back and forth. It doesn't feel like they have an identity in the same way that led to their success last season. So I think they're just trying to go back to that. And to speak to the Lethal, I think there were rumors that he might have been trialing for like the Vancouver Titans as well. So I think there was a chance he was going to leave London Spitfire. And I almost wonder if there were like buyout issues of it's a lot harder to get traded if you are currently on an Overwatch League team compared to being on a contenders team, because buyouts aren't as big or don't exist. So it's hard for, teams that aren't spending a lot of money to justify spending money on a buyout for a player.
Yeah, I also think that's like what you're talking about with the specialization, like their identity. It won't really help in this season. Like you just can't play Ryan. Ryan's bad. That was like they were only good at Ryan comps and rush comps, and both those comps just get hard countered by Sombra. So I think they kind of got baited by last year's results. I think they need to make more changes, but last year it's just a really good meta for them, like Ryan and then like the Winston Rush. It's like comps they like definitely excel in as a team. Like you have Backbone on like May and Reaper, like he's like really crazy at those heroes. But then like when you have these more dive metas, like they have a lot of weaknesses, like Hadi not the best Winston, Backbone not like great at Tracer Sombra. Admiral not great at Brig. Like you had like perfect metas for them last year, and I think it kind of like baited them into like not realizing like their full problems. And also,
The
I feel like it's like pretty obvious, but I don't know if you guys saw that Mayhem dropped Sauna, so it's like if they
It makes
freed
sense,
up
right?
if they freed up 2 spots, that makes sense to pay out for a buyout and for a player contract. So I'm assuming that's where he'll go, but who knows? It could like maybe Mayhem's just cutting back on costs too.
They are 5 players, so they either need to sign a social media manager to, you know, role play as a player, or they need another player, right?
Oh, you don't know?
Or did they move away from that? Sorry?
Christopher's coming back.
All right. Yeah.
Yeah, bring him back.
The Ryan player.
Why don't
Ryan
they go
players.
another level and they bring Chipsa back?
Yeah, so there you go.
Put him as the 6th player.
Memphis player.
that'd have to be Infernal. He's not going to play on London.
Well,
He has to go to the Philly one.
no, I think it's time for a new.
One of the other things I got out of the
him
London
being on
interviews
both
and the
the
Christopher interview
2018
is that,
Grand
like, the
Final
team
teams, Sauna,
atmosphere
Spitfire, and
was different last year because they were like hella
that's a resume
underdogs.
right there.
So every
Avril, I
win
can't hear you again. I don't know if
was a
you can hear
celebration.
Avril.
Like it felt
You
really
guys are
good.
both speaking over each other because I don't
Are
think
we?
you can hear each other.
No, I
Oh, we
couldn't hear
probably
Avril then.
can't.
I couldn't hear Avril then.
Was Johnny also speaking right now? Okay.
Yeah, this is so dumb. This software
No,
sucks
my
ass
mind
today.
is exploding. Please
Oh
stop.
my god. You speak, Avril.
Okay, I'm gonna go. Jesus, sorry. Yeah. So the other insight from the interview that was really good was the team atmosphere changing from last year, because last year they were like hella underdogs, right? So every win felt good. Beating Toronto felt really good for them. And you know, because they were such underdogs, you know, they had to prove people wrong. This year it's like they came in with different expectations. They got what, 6th place last year. They had a really good finish overall. Now it's like if they beat a team, it doesn't feel as good because they're expected to beat that team. So yeah, maybe their Winston is not as amazing, but they also played some of that last year. I think maybe more of the problems are on the Tracer Sombra side of things than the Hardy side. Not having Ryan does suck, but some of it I think is just on the team mental side. Like it sounded from the interview that they're not as confident this year, just based on the fact that they have the added pressure of where they finished last year and what that does to the team.
Yeah, I think it definitely does change the perspective. Like instead of like maybe before they'd like write off a loss to like a mid-tier team, it's like, oh, like whatever, like they just played well today. But then today, like you lose that mid-table team, and then you're like, oh, well, like why are we so bad? Like we shouldn't be losing them. And like really, like when you have 5 people thinking differently like that, it really changes your perspective on things, and it adds like a different type of pressure. And like it just adds tension, and then tension like can be bad. Like it can help the team, but a lot of times people aren't really good at expressing things because I don't know. Most players are pretty young and stuff, so it can be really harmful to the team.
Am I good to speak?
Now, Johnny,
You're good to go. Go, Johnny.
All right. Well, we quickly touched on Sauna as well. Florida Mayhem, they dropped Sauna as well, so who knows where Sauna is going, but could be an interesting pickup for I don't know, Spitfire if they choose to. We didn't really get to see Sauna much this year. I will say, Florida Mayhem, they tried to play him though. They tried to put him in a few spots here and there just to get him some playtime, and I appreciate that rather than just perma-benching Sauna, because they already had Merit and Checkmate. So, you know, they were kind of good, but they still gave Sauna an opportunity to play in some games. So I don't know if you guys have any, you know, early impressions of Sauna as a player, or where do you think what's next for him? But I hope he returns to the league at some point.
I kind of want to see what his potential is, because he looked good from the bits and pieces that we saw, but it's hard to really know if that's just like the environment and the strong team that he was on. So if I'd love to be able to see this guy prove why he was picked up by Goomba and the Florida Mayhem. There has to be something there, and that's just hard to show when you play such limited minutes. So hopefully if he does end up at London, that we get to see like what he can offer to the league.
I mean, it's probably a good move for both teams in a way. It frees up. I mean, I don't think Sauna was really going to be used that much more when you have Checkmate Merit on your team already. But beyond that, like, this really does help out London a lot. And Sauna was pretty hyped up. I personally haven't seen his games yet, but he had a bit of reputation coming in as
fake tweet.
pretty hyped up EU player. So I'm hoping he gets to be able to show that on London. And also an EU player joining an EU team. Feels good.
London Spitfire just with the super bait. Come on, like this is just so far on the nose. It's just not. It's not even close. I don't know if you can pull this up, but yeah. pretty much answering the question we're talking about here.
Oh,
I will say, team social media managers, they have no integrity anymore. They just do anything for engagement. just baiting like this for engagement. They have no idea whether Sauna is getting picked up or not. They just want to bait. They just want to bait for engagement. And then people just like, oh my god, they're obviously picking up Sauna. They're front running their own announcement by leaking who they're signing. Like,
imagine they just sign like Venom or something, like just the most unexpected signing. It's like, oh, okay.
Oh my god,
that'd be so good.
That'd be
Fleta,
so
we picked up
toxic to
Fleta, guys.
Sauna. Can you imagine? Sauna just gets dropped by an Overwatch League team and then they just bait him to pick someone else up? Nah, that's not okay.
That would be really fucked. But
Very.
that'd be legendary. That'd be like, that'd go down in history.
That'd be with We Won. Myeonbong again.
I'm surprised Shock didn't do anything with Striker. Credit to the Shock social media management team. They didn't do anything about the Striker
That would have
rumors,
been
did
so
they?
good,
So
actually.
they had just like a slam dunk opportunity, and they didn't do it. And honestly, I support it. They didn't engage with it, and instead they just kind of like let the rumor be out there. But yeah, Lona Spitfire, very predictable tweet. So there we go. All right, we want to get into some of the Overwatch League stuff coming up this week. But first, we got a new sponsor, guys. We got a new sponsor.
Oh, here we go.
Here we go. Our friends at Freeze Pipe just launched a bunch of new products that are taking the cannabis market by storm. If you're interested in the smoothest, coldest way to smoke cannabis, then you gotta try a freezable pipe, bubbler, or bong from Freeze Pipe. Their newly released Mini Bong and Tornado Bong, Mini Bong and Tornado Bong. There's a Toronto Defiant joke in there somewhere about the Tornado Bong. Are very affordable, and they punch well above their weight class. And for those who prefer smoking joints, blunts, vapes, Freeze Pipe's new glycerin blunt holder brings much needed icy glycerin coldness to a market that so desperately need it. So say goodbye to harsh smoke and coughing attacks by shopping the coldest pipes, bubblers, bongs, and dab rigs at thefreezepipe.com and use code esports for 10% off your entire order. That's freezepipe.com and code esports for 10% off. Shop today and let Freeze Pipe's icy glycerin chambers do all the heavy lifting. I gotta say, I tried to sneak in smoking an APAC kind of go thing in there, like the Kalush tweet about smoking
that would
APAC,
just be,
but Avril would have been so pissed off if I talked about smoking APAC and then Freeze Pipe and bongs and everything.
That kind of stuff, yeah.
I have a question, Johnny. In the past, you guys have gotten Manscaped product to sort of like promote, so you can speak from experience. I'm just curious if with new sponsors that's still a thing, or
hey man, I'll hit up the people at Freeze Pipe. You know, do you want like a live demonstration on the show? Is that what you're asking for?
Yeah. We'll
got the pipes over your cam right there.
Demonstration, yeah, and then we'll do the rest of the episode.
But do you get the material that you're supposed to smoke as well, or just the pipe?
Oh yeah, if they could send samples with it, that'd be great.
Okay. Yeah,
I'll
see what I can do for you, Custa. If you wanna go all in,
I appreciate you.
Yeah. Well, we'll see what we can do. I can do some phone calls, some Google meetings, some emails, stuff like that. So there you go. Avril?
I got another important question. Danteh, earlier I asked you, our previous sponsor Manscaped about balls, asked you questions about balls. What are your just general thoughts on pipes? You got balls and pipes. What are your thoughts about pipes?
I was actually thinking about it. I was like, what makes this different? It's cold, so like, it's cold like
it's chill. It's cold.
Does it like chill your throat? Is it like when you're drinking a soda and like the soda like freezes your throat? It's like burning, or like maybe it's a little different because not.
I mean,
soda,
look,
but
coughing and like smoke in your
like.
lungs, it sucks. It's the absolute worst. I think this is more like. Yeah, you know, like an icy mint kind of like relaxed, chill feeling, you know. So to Freeze Pipe, thank you, Misha Lewis Norell, for $420 amount to Freeze Pipe. Thank you for the donation to the stream. Appreciate you. Good times. Yeah, I'll let you know.
We're off the
next
deep
time,
end.
Custa. Yeah, I'll do some research. There you go. Thank you to Freeze Pipe. Use code esports for 10% off at freezepipe.com. There we go. Thefreezepipe.com. Sorry. It's thefreezepipe.com. All right.
If you guys want to find out more information about freeze pipes, just message Josh Sideshow Wilkinson. He'll tell you all about it.
Yeah, he's
he knows everything.
Personal correspondent.
Yeah. All right, let's get into the second half of the 2023 Overwatch League season. Obviously, matches start on Thursday already. We got 4 match days this week. But I kind of wanted to do like big picture team here. Not necessarily like preseason preds or anything like that. No, you don't have to like like fully commit to a team and stuff like that. But I did want to just have like a conversation about what teams that excite you the most going into the second half. Maybe it's some changes they've made. Maybe it's a team that you think is a bit underrated going into the second half of the season. A team that you're fascinated by. So, as an example, like I call this segment like hitching your wagon, like you're betting on this team and then you're gonna like follow them to the end. So historically, Custa going to a charge, for example, I have said going into this season that I think that Shanghai Dragons is very interesting. I'm not like, oh, Shanghai will be great, but I do think that the pickup of Fate now in the midseason is very interesting for Shanghai Dragons, and I'm curious to see what they can do. So just talking about like if you had to pick one team that you really want to follow in the second half of the season, that you're very intrigued by, which team would that be? So I'm going to start with you, Custa, and then Danteh and AVRL can spend some time thinking about the team that they're interested in.
Oh, okay. I'm actually going to go the low-hanging fruit because this is the team I'm most excited to see. I want to see how the San Francisco Shock do. Like, okay. Honestly, because there were rumors that they were going to change their backline. I don't think they're going to change their backline this late in the game. The games start tomorrow, so it's unlikely at this point. But I think they have a great roster. We don't know who their second DPS is yet, but they obviously have talent in it, and they should be able to at least break into top 5. So are they going to finally meet the promised land? They've been in North America. They're not on ping. All those excuses theoretically should be out of the way. Can they finally play like a Sombra Tracer meta? And are they going to be able to fill that role? Like, Shock are the team that I'm interested to see because, we have high expectations of Krusty and the teams that they have built in the San Francisco Shock. So,
is this like a team that we think, when you say Hitch All Ride, like, does it have to be a team that we think is going to do good, or just a team that I want to see?
Look, I just want to see your wagon.
I don't think Shock's going to be great.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be like, don't pick the Atlanta Reign because that's stupid as shit. Like, it's not about having like a perfect record. Just like a team that you'll enjoy like cheering for. And look, you can cheer for the Vegas Eternal.
I got you, fam.
Admiral, before you go again, I'm also going to say the exact same thing. Literally just take out the names. It's also the Dallas Fuel. Like, I want to see Dallas Fuel. If you can get your shit in a pile and play better than you did last stage, that would be great as well. Because they're the exact same thing.
Unfair.
They like Rush, Krusty, great coaches. They have great players. They have great rosters. I want to see them perform better than they did in the last stage.
All right,
because the team I'm going to pick, if it's just like a visual thing, and I'm glued to it. I just want to see it. It's a visual thing. I'm picking the Vegas Eternal, baby, because
oh my god,
so I think it's a great pick. We're not talking about results.
It's a great
We're not talking about results. We're not talking about results. Just talking about a team you want to see. I'm like, this is like reality TV. I got to know what's happening next. I got to see the next episode.
We ended on a cliffhanger.
Just want to see like one map win, maybe two, a map 5, and that's like an accomplishment. You're like, oh, they're going map 5. This is big. It's like when everyone was cheering Shanghai in season 1. It's like, it's exciting. Like, actually.
Danteh, do you think this team's going to be good?
Sorry, I want to ask AVRL first here. So you probably have the most first-hand experience like watching these guys. Knife 2, you and Irony picked up, of course. So like, how do you feel about these pickups next to Dove and Drag Attack? Like, what fuels, what propels your excitement in this team?
I'm praying to God. I'm an atheist, so I'm praying to all the gods I don't believe in. Please don't ruin Knife's career, because this kid is actually really good, and I would hate for Knife to have his entire Overwatch League career boomed because of this team. Please, for the love of God, not Knife. Don't take Knife away from me. Who and Irony, they already had their career. They already had some games. It's whatever. But Knife, bro, this guy's got a future. Like, don't let this be the team that ruins him, please. But no, it is. These new guys are good. The problem is they're playing on high ping at like 3 a.m. That's bad.
Yeah, I think a really underrated thing is how like the nighttime schedule affects you, because like it makes it harder to sleep and stuff when like the sun's shining in your room. Like maybe not everyone has blackout curtains, so it can affect your sleep, just your overall well-being. Like when you're not going outside, you're on like an inverse schedule. So I think on top of ping, that's another thing people don't think about much when like people are playing on ping. I've done like practices where I'm on Korean schedule, where we're like doing Korean scrims before the season starts because no like NA teams are in NA, and it's always rough. So hopefully they do well with that.
All right, there you go. Danteh, do you want to pick a team?
Yeah, so I'll probably going with anyone that like offers me a streaming contract because yeah.
You got a double dip. Does he plugging himself right now on our show?
Yeah, I mean, money talks, you know. I'll support whoever. Let's go fight team,
Right, well,
whoever wants.
Pick the team that you want the contract from. Then who's giving you the contract?
Who's top of the
Pick
list?
Your team.
Short list.
If I could choose, it'd probably be any team I played for. So the guard probably won't happen because yeah.
How much are you asking for? Could we sign you to Plat
San
Chat as a
Francisco
content
shop.
creator?
You name the price. What are you looking like, Johnny? What's the deal?
Look,
One free sponsor.
Shit, I
got
gotta
free
talk to my
sponsors.
yeah, you get some ball stuff from Manscaped. I can maybe figure that out. So you can get their performance package 4.0, and yeah, maybe a few bongs included. And then if you need thumbnails, I know a great person that can help you out. So I don't know how much. Do you need monetary compensation, or is this? Are you cool with some products?
Maybe I
How
can
about
just
some
resell the
exposure?
sponsors. This is good.
Oh my god.
Wait a minute.
Just give me a bunch of sponsor stuff.
All right. Well, we'll talk offline. We'll talk offline. Arvo,
Alright,
go
alright.
ahead.
How about this? I got a trade offer for Danteh. That's just all this talk about Shark just kind of just gave me some brainwaves here. What if hypothetically Shark said to you, because they don't have another DPS player, would you like to play next to Proba? You can be the Sombra, and Proba can play Tracer, and Shark will give you a playing contract. What would you say to that?
Honestly, probably no, because like I'm already committed to collegiate, so it'd be like weird to go back on my word. It'd be cool if I like still wanted to play like a ton. I think it has like potential to be a good team, but I'm just not that interested in playing right now. It's also Shock is like known for like lowballing their players and stuff, so going to them like they always like, oh yeah, like look at our accomplishments, like you can join, like, but we're not going to give you like a crazy offer. And then I'd have to move all my stuff to San Francisco just to get kicked off the team after the season's done, and then I'd have to move all my stuff back to where I'm going. So I feel like joining mid-season is hard because a lot of teams are low budget mode mid-season, and it's like I have a lot of stuff. Like I have to like move all my stuff. I'm sending it like in a pod. I have to figure out all that stuff. Like it's just a lot of work, honestly, moving around. At least for me, because I've been living like away from home for like 6 years, so I just have a lot of stuff that I have to worry about. Like I'm not living in a suitcase anymore. So
I was memeing, but I appreciate the fully serious answer because that's actually very insightful.
yeah, like I think that's like a huge reason why I didn't want to go like just play for another team is like it's just I have a lot of stuff. It's like a lot of extra work. So and like getting paid minimum and stuff because like teams don't have the money to be like spending, like a lot of teams are probably like going down with like what their original budget was at the start of the season. So it's like if you don't have a burning passion to compete, it's probably not worth it. Like the people that are like doing it are like they just have like the burning passion in them for sure.
Yeah. There's also like an opportunity thing to go with it as well. I mean, you know, you probably find plenty of opportunities. So I'm not saying this is related to you at all, but at least when I kind of like retired and moved into broadcasting, it was like I just got like kicked off Team Sweden and Misfits, and I was like, do I want to go into like Discords and like make friends and look for offers and like compete my way up there? You know, like I didn't have a ton of opportunities, and getting back into like a scene and you know, trying to try out for teams and like it takes a lot of time and it's very tedious. So I had an opportunity in broadcast talent instead, so I just took that and just decided to stick with that. For my team, before we move on to a different topic, I just want to shout out Toronto Defiant as well. You know, they made some wholesale changes here in the mid-season where we already talked about Ojee, of course, but they also parted ways with Sam and Speedily, who had, you know, questionable performance in the first half of the season. Personally, I'm pretty sad that the Toronto Defiant underperformed. I think this was a very important team when it comes to personality within the league, and a team that hopefully like a lot of the American audience could have rooted for, because all these guys are fun, they have great personalities, and are players you feel like you want to root for. Obviously, they had all ties with Team USA. But instead, they pick up Spectra and Opener now to round out their team. So I'm looking forward to see what Toronto Defiant looks like. I still think that a lot of these guys have tons of talent and should perform better than they did in the first half of the season. So I don't know if it's enough to qualify for playoffs, but just wanted to shout out Toronto Defiant quick before we move on to the next kind of topic here. So
No, fuck Toronto. They drop my boys.
Oh shit! Oh shit! You don't care about ultraviolet collusion, Hydron?
Nah, not really.
Brutal honesty, I like.
Wow.
I love it. I love it. Yeah, I'm looking out for them. Now, we have to go the opposite way, of course. We have to go the opposite way, of course. So we talked about teams that we're looking forward to. What are teams you're staying away from? What is a team that has like bad vibes, as you know, Avast would call it? Avast would talk.
Gladiators.
Oh my.
No, I'm joking. I'm joking. I actually hope my teammates. I really loved my teammates, or my ex-teammates and stuff. Like it was a really good environment, so I want to see them succeed. I really do. Like Kevster, such a good player. Like I don't know, that guy's insane. He's so talented mechanically. Can play like Sojourn at like a pretty high level. Like it's so hard to off-roll and stuff, but he's like just insane. He's like really nice teammate. He like calms well. He like tells the team what he wants to do. Like asks people for like resources and stuff. He's like just really crazy player, and he has like a really kind personality. So I really hope he gets like some sort of award this year, or gets like a good playoffs run. Hope he
In the community, he's not a role star right now. I don't think people are like considering him a role star right now.
It's so crazy. He's so talented. Honestly, I really hope he can get that.
I think that's the biggest like boon to Kevster, that like a lot of people look at Kevster and they're like, why do people speak so highly of this guy? You know, he hasn't had that much success on the LA Gladiators. Like literally everyone who has ever played with or against Kevster always talks about how great of a player he is. And like when you have the highest of the highest and the best of the best giving that form of praise, like you need to sit up and listen. And I think that's why a lot of us do give Kevster that props. Danteh, I have a toxic question.
What's up?
Do you think the Gladiators will be better with Marvel in the lineup? Do you think he will help them? Like on that main tank, obviously has a lot more experience in that role. Do you think they will be better in this stage?
I think they could definitely be better at Winston comps, because like he definitely just a better Winston. But like whenever you get better at one thing, you kind of like lose value on other things. Like,
yeah.
I could see them being like worse at like Queen comps. I haven't seen his Ramatra. I haven't watched much APAC and stuff. But I think he like definitely helps the team in some ways, but probably like has holes in different areas. But honestly, if like they're never gonna nerf Winston and Sombra, like it's probably like gonna be good for them. So yeah, hopefully that works out for them, because it'd be like tragic if I was dropped for no reason and like they stayed the same or got worse. That would like be like worst case scenario.
Can you imagine like a Queen meta for the playoffs and then it's just like it's not good for them? Like that'd be so sad.
Yeah, no, it's so tragic, because like in any other year, they would just be like they would just like kept me on the roster. But it's just all the teams are trying to save money this year. So
yeah,
and like we would have had way more roster depth, and even if we went into it like with 2 tank players, like we could have had like more roster depth. Like I could have just focused on like Ramatra and stuff, and he could have played Winston. And I guarantee we both like when you spread yourself too thin, it's hard to really perfect a role. Like I think a reason why I was so good at Doomfist last year was it's all I had to play, and Piggy like could cover like other tanks and stuff. So I was able just to focus my attention on that, and like it does fit me well. It's like a good hero for me. But if I like can just focus all my energy into like one hero, like you just like become another level at it. So it does suck. It wasn't like this from the start.
All right.
Also,
yeah,
I just want to throw in, like, Space played one map all of last year, just making insane money. So it's actually so fucked up. Bro was making like, bro was making like 3x what I make right now.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
Or what I was making, and he just got to play one map for the whole season and just chilling. Just an awful time to be alive.
I don't think he was
Overwatch
happy though. I don't think he was having a fun time though. Like I'm pretty sure he would have preferred to play it, right? Surely.
Bro, he got paid the bag.
No. I think okay, you say that like maybe if it was like 3 years ago, but like when you're like on your 6th season or like 5th season, you're like, like it's not too bad. I can just like go cheer the boys. Hey, good job, guys. No circuit today. Like, you guys got this.
His face is just catching strays. Damn.
No. Like, trust me, I'm good friends with Space. Like, he was enjoying that stuff. Like, getting paid big bucks just to go cheer his team and like give them speeches before matches. Like, all the teams, all the boys always meme it. They're like, oh yeah, we need an indie speech right now, because like he would always give them speeches before the match. Because like that's just like he's like a good guy. He's like a nice teammate. He's not gonna like be like petty and stuff if he's not playing. Like, so I think he was enjoying it. Getting to
So
live
you
in
wanted to
LA.
go on your team speech era. That's where you wanted to be on the bench and just give a
speech
speech every now and then.
I was so pissed I didn't have my boink gear where I could just be like from a bench just making a
My
racks. Like,
boink here.
dude, no, actually,
God.
that's the pro player dream. Like when you're done like with your aspirations, like you've like kind of decided it's your last year. It's like fuck, like I want one of those years, like the big bucks year where you're just like getting paid to like, all right guys, let's got this, like we got this, try your hardest, like fuck the coaches, fuck what they say, because apparently that's what Indy would always say. He'd be like, guys, fuck the coaches, don't get in your heads, guys. Like apparently that's every speech. He's just like, fuck the coaches, just try our hardest, guys. Don't worry about what they say. It's brain dead. Like that was the Indy speech. I've heard about it. So I wish like I got that phase of my career, but I did not.
I can't believe Indy says, yeah, don't listen to the coaches, fuck them, and also got no playtime. I can't see those things correlating at all.
Oh no,
you know,
he would take them away from the coaches.
Yeah.
He would take them outside. But
That's funny.
no, it's
I
just
can't
'cause,
believe
like,
you didn't.
Oh, sorry.
I was gonna say, Scott, I can't believe you didn't get your boink gear. You could have stayed around. Why did you decide to be an analyst? You know, you could have had a boink gear.
I could have had my boink gear. I had a guaranteed contract in 2020. I could have been the team mascot in 2020 for the Valiant. I just, I decided I didn't want to pull my boink gear.
out.
Yeah,
Damn, dude.
I gave it up. I gave it up to be here and yell at the viewers.
It's an investment, Custa. Now you're reaping the rewards from your hard work. So
Yeah, I know.
yeah. Wow. The boink here. I think I prefer
What a
Danteh, the
turn.
retired player, over the Danteh, the actual Overwatch League player. This is amazing content right here. You want to become a regular? You want to be on the show?
Yeah, of course. Just invite me anytime. Except maybe we do it a little later. Dude, I fucked up so bad last night. Okay, so I set like a 20-minute alarm because I want to take a nap because I feel like I'm a lot more productive.
What time was
just take
this?
a power nap. It was at like 9 o'clock.
In the PM?
Yeah, 9 o'clock
Well,
p.m.
you set a
took a nap
20-minute
at
alarm
9
to
p.m.?
sleep at
'cause
9
normally
p.m.?
I sleep at like 2 o'clock, so I wanted to have like more productive night because like if I'm like tired, I just
Okay.
like can't focus. So I like just taking like a power nap, and I go to take a power nap, and my watch, like I think the alarm went off on my watch because it was like this somewhere. It was just like on my desk. I forgot to put it on the charger, so it was still on, and I just didn't get the alarm at all. It was just vibrating on my watch. And I slept till like 10:30, and then I couldn't fall asleep last night. So it was brutal. You gotta be careful, guys. Make sure you put your watch on the charger so that doesn't happen. That's my lesson learned.
That's what we gotta learn from this. Put your watch on the charger.
Yeah.
I love that this is the most esports shit ever, that you're like, yeah, I want to be more productive, so I decided to take a nap at 9 p.m. instead of being like, maybe I go to bed and get up early. Danteh, what do we think about that? Maybe you could have tried that.
Nothing to get up early for, you know. Like if I guess I had this, but also
You learn that it's just life, Danteh. You get up for life, like to do chores and family stuff and my dog, like taking care of my dog. Like you learn now in
I
your
don't have a
retired life
dog,
that
so-
life brings
Get a dog.
obligations.
Danteh, you
like,
should get a dog.
Oh, actually,
Yes.
I do want like a cat. I'm more of a cat kind of guy, so less
Okay.
work.
I respect. I
But,
respect that. I respect that.
I do want a pet at some time.
Actually, I have a side question, Danteh. How's the back? How's the sunburn
oh, the
going?
sunburn.
Oh, I mean, should I show you guys? No, we're gonna get banned. It's better though.
Do we get
I'm
banned?
so peely.
Can you take
No,
off your
we don't
shirt?
get banned.
On-
We don't get
you don't get
for
banned.
this.
Yeah, take off your shirt.
Really?
There's top streamers on Twitch, and we would get banned
Alright,
for Dante's
let's go.
back.
Yeah, let's go. Full send.
right.
Let's go. Here
fine.
we go.
Can you see
Oh,
those?
that's not bad. It's a
looking
little
better, yeah.
pink.
Oh, that lower back. Yeah, there's some. There's some.
The lower back's a
There's some
little pink.
red
Did you
there.
peel it?
Oh, look at
you
that.
can
It's
see a little bit of
flaking.
peeling.
Do you see the
It's
peels?
Yeah.
peeling. Yeah.
Yeah, there's like skin on my ground right now. Actually, I've just been shedding. So
Skin on my ground.
Oh damn! Oh damn!
I can pick some up.
Did you try aloe vera,
I
Danteh?
think
You
we're
know
good,
what that is?
Danteh. I think we're
Are you
good.
sure? A little piece right here.
Bro, vacuum
Solomon,
your
change the
floor.
camera. Change.
Dude, I haven't gotten to it. I woke up early today.
You get one of those robot vacuums, so you get like cleaners or something. Danteh, we need to learn. We need to teach you how to live life here. Or
Dude,
like,
I am. I have a hand vacuum. I'll do it right now if it makes that happen.
Yeah, vacuuming stream. We're doing everything in this stream. We're
I love that
going
there's just
places.
like this. I haven't commented on it. There's a fucking cardboard on the couch, just U-Haul cardboard in the background this entire time on the couch.
Hell yeah, bro. Fuck it, why not? I like that. Yes. Here we go. Here we go. What are we learning? Okay.
Audible.
And also Dyson.
I'm a professional.
I see
Dyson,
some
if you're
spots
up
on the
there,
floor in
we're
the back
open to
there. There's some white
sponsors.
spots on the floor.
Hey, U-Haul, we're open to sponsors.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, we got a bunch of product placement right now.
You know, we should really just do like an Overwatch League content series where it's just players doing life stuff, like cooking, streams, cleaning, doing taxes. I don't know, going to the dentist.
Taxes, those are brutal. Yeah, pro tip,
true.
guys, if you're ever moving, U-Haul sells the cheapest boxes. Go there, I think. Cheaper than Home Depot. Cheaper than like UPS and stuff.
Didn't someone tell me you can get like free boxes from like somewhere? Is it USPS? I don't think USPS.
Oh my god, yeah, this rings a bell too.
There's no...
Free boxes.
I've heard that before, that you can get free boxes somewhere. But yeah, U-Haul boxes are good. U-Hauls are surprisingly cheap if you're gonna move. I didn't realize that they're like $40 to rent for a day. Yeah, it's actually not bad.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Do you mean to rent? To rent like one of the U-Hauls?
Yeah, to just like rent a U-Haul for a day. It's
Yeah,
not bad.
yeah.
That's Kappa. It's not that cheap, guys.
Oh, really?
So Kappa.
What?
Dude,
I
okay.
rented one for like a day. It was like $50.
Okay, is that in-state? Or are you moving in-state?
No, I was staying in the area. Like I was moving from one LA apartment to another LA apartment.
Okay, that's not bad. But dude, my U-Haul to move from Houston to LA, like I drove it with like, and I towed my car behind.
Oh yeah, it's expensive.
It cost like $3K, and I was like, "Fucking hell!" Like, how did it just racks up? It's crazy.
Thank you, Mulder, for the $10. More Danteh
That's for me, right?
Yeah,
yeah.
You get it coming in the mail, man.
Yeah.
It's coming.
Yeah. If we sell some more pipes and ball stuff, then yeah, we can look into
All
it.
pipes and balls.
Right, beer back. I put this away.
Yeah, we have some pretty unique sponsorships there. Right, amazing. Yeah, let's head into our closing segments here. We wanted to do power ranks quickly here. And I don't think we're going to change up too much stuff here. Might do some changes based on some of the pickups and drops from some of these teams. We don't know what the meta is going to be, but I'm guessing it's going to be Tracer, Sombra, Winston, right? So we can quickly just gloss over the power rankings and do those, and maybe get Dante's thoughts on some of these teams as well when we move them up and down. And then after that, we got predictions as well. We're going to close out. We have quite a few predictions here, so I will try to move past them somewhat, but I was hoping during the predictions that we can talk more about the teams and stuff like that. Sort of like a, get an opportunity to just say a few lines about each team here going to the second half. So here's the Plat Chat power rankings. I don't know when we did these, if this was like the knockout rankings or something like that, because I don't think we did them before.
I think this was like a week after the playoffs. I think this was after the playoffs.
Oh, really? Oh,
like the mid-season, yeah. I think you weren't here, and we went through this and we decided to just sort of like pull it out. So this is like somewhat up to date. We just haven't really talked about the changing of the rosters. So I guess that might move things. Like personally, with the changes, I actually think I would put New York above Vancouver, just as like because I think New York has some upside, and I think Aspire was going to be a big loss for this Vancouver roster.
I think with the changes, Vegas should go above Chengdu.
No,
well, Chengdu is gone. Like they're actually gone. Like they don't exist anymore.
Yeah, but you never know.
I'm down with this.
Will come back.
I'm down with this.
I appreciate that they're trying. Like, I like teams that are trying. I appreciate that they're trying.
Do you think Vegas goes above? Do you think the changes and the addition of the Korean roster puts them above the Los Angeles Valiant?
Maybe, dude, I'm tempted. Maybe.
But no, you gotta earn it. You gotta earn it. There's no shortcuts, guys.
Yeah.
There are no shortcuts.
That's true.
Do you think Shanghai with an actual main tank instead of Fleta?
I think they're gonna be good, actually. I think Fate. I don't know. I think Fate is actually a good player.
Move Toronto above London.
Yeah, he is.
For sure.
And I think if Hisu and Viper keep playing the same way, like they're gonna they will be good with a good
Hisu, Sombra, Viper, Tracer. Hello,
and like an actual Winston player, they'll be good.
Shit.
I think I could potentially see them above
London.
Would you put them above Seoul Dynasty? Well, let me look at Seoul Dynasty's roster.
They picked up who
have they got now?
They picked up Easyhan.
Yeah, they picked up Easyhan. They got Bellisfree, Krillin, Lisu, Min, Void.
I guess I hope Profit will come back, because otherwise,
Wait, they have one DPS player?
Profit.
Profit's coming back.
Profit's
Oh, he's inactive on the.
He's playing.
On the Wikipedia, he's playing.
I wouldn't count
Profit,
them
Tracer,
out, but...
Easyhan, Sombra. But the problem is, Bellisfree or Winston, he's been a bit average this season.
Yeah.
And I don't think Seoul Dynasty can just force Ram. I think they're going to have to play some Winston. Unless Bellisfree is much better. Like, this is a bit of a problem. Plus, Lisu and Krillin. It's fine, but it's still like Well, on the brig, I guess. It doesn't feel as exciting as Shanghai, even though it's Gangnam Jin brig as well. But Hisu Viper and then Fate on the Winston's like, oh,
I feel like
kind
they
of
gotta
tasty,
earn it,
a little bit
guys.
tasty.
Yeah, I'm gonna put them above, honestly. I think like Hisu is crazy at Sombra. I rate him a lot. I think he's like right after like Lip tier. I think there's like a Lip tier, and then there's like the rest of the tier, like Hisu, Fitz, like those guys. I think he's up there with the Sombras. So I'm gonna rate them up there. I think Fate is also really good at Winston, like the main tanks.
Yeah.
I think they got too greedy, like trying to go with Fleta, because they saw like success from like teams like Outlaws and stuff last year. It's like a really hard task. Like most of the DPS tanks haven't looked that good, like me Fleta. Like this year, it's just like completely different meta. So they got greedy and took a risk. So I think they'll be
we
like
betting on Shanghai?
Yeah.
Chat, are we claiming our Shanghai stake here before the matches kick off? Do we just want to propel them to 14 right now and say we were early?
Yeah, I'm down to put Shanghai in 14. I think like I know you say they should earn it, but I genuinely think this team is good.
We could be early. We need to restore the PLATCHAT reputation after putting shock number 1.
Yeah, or throw it in the bin. One of the two is going to happen.
Well, you know, double up, right? Double up if you're down.
I mean, it's like if you're gambling, if you're down more, you have to make up for it.
Yeah.
Like you can't just like cut your losses.
Yeah.
Just go harder.
That was a bulletproof strategy my first time in Vegas. Just double up every time you lose. Bulletproof. And then never stop, of course. Who else here? Yeah, we moved New York up. We'll see about Dallas, San Francisco, Washington at 9, Guangzhou at 8. We'll see how APAC shakes out. Seoul Infernal at 7, Gliders at 6, Hangzhou at 5, Boston at 4, Florida 3, Houston 2, Atlanta 1. So, I mean, Boston without Striker, I don't think they care because they're just going to play Border UK anyway.
It's Hanbin Winston. Like last split on mid-season, they were doing a lot of Lucio Mora, Ram. If we're assuming that's not as good this time around on the current patch, does Dallas go down? Because they were not comfortable in Winston.
I just want to leave these as it is, to be honest. Do any of you guys feel passionately about any of these rankings? Like, I feel like the Shanghai thing is our bet now, and then people who don't watch the episode are going to be like, what the fuck are these guys talking about? But
people who don't watch the episode and haven't seen the roster changes.
Yeah.
But I feel like this is good. This is good.
This is fine. I think this is fine right now. Like,
unless you want to move Vegas above Valiant just for the betting, you know, like early.
No, I actually think Vegas is going to heavily struggle with short turnaround, players playing on ping, players playing at the wrong time, no effective communication. I don't know if this team is going to be dramatically better with the changes, even though I think they're better players.
Dude, I want to bet on Toronto so badly. I so badly want to bet on this team. Both their new players are in the...
I mean, it's only Opener and Spectre, right? Like,
yeah, but in a Tracer... does it solve their Winston Tracer Sombra problem? Like, I know, obviously, I think they're going to improve, but are they going to get dramatically better?
Actually, you're right. No, Scott's right. Scott's correct. I don't think they're going to be dramatically better, but it will improve them.
Yeah, I think the issue is like all the middle teams are also improving at the same time as them improving, because like basically like every team did like changes actually. Like Justice did changes, Shock did changes, New York did changes, Vancouver did changes. Like those are the teams that they'd probably pass, but those teams also all made changes. So you have to like see whose changes are more beneficial too. So it adds more to the puzzle.
All right, there we go. Power rankings. I feel pretty good about these going into the second half. So are we ready for predictions, Solomon? I know you were tinkering a little bit, adding stuff in and out. So I hope so. We got predictions going to week 5. So usually we do like 5 predictions. This week we're doing 10 predictions. And it's only to touch on as many teams as possible. And also maybe to shake up the prediction standings a little bit. I don't know if we have the numbers, but it doesn't really matter if we don't. So yeah, Danteh, you don't have a score because obviously you haven't predicted yet. AVRL's 11-5. I'm 10-6. Custa is 15-7.
That's cheating.
Number is higher, so that means it's better.
Well,
even though it's just because I've been here the most.
It's above 2 preds per 1, 2 to 1 ratio.
Yeah.
So that's good. AVRL also has that. I do not. I have less than 2 to 1 ratio. So I'm struggling in this regard. But yeah, we got 10 predictions coming your way. Starting off, Houston Outlaws versus Florida Mayhem. And I'm guessing
Freelo.
We all predicted the Houston Outlaws. No surprise here. But Oh
God.
there you go. Plat Chat
It all
community.
happened so fast. Avril's face looks like pause chap. He's like he's pause jamming for this one.
Doubters? Any doubters? I had to highlight this one because ultimately it's the first match I think of the week. It's a banger of a match, so
Yeah.
I'm very much looking forward to this one.
Yeah, I think Houston is going to stay pretty firmly at the number 2. Like, I feel like Houston and Atlanta are just like above everyone else in these compositions. Like, Florida's good, but I just don't think they match Houston in it.
How do you feel, Dante, about one of your former teams?
I think Houston just wins. I think this is like their meta. Like I think Fearless Winston, Shuana, it's hard to compete with. Like they just like they're so talented. And then Happy and Pelly on Tracer or Tracer Sombra. I think while they're not as good as like Lip Stalker, they're like really good at the heroes. Like they're solid. So I think when you have like 2 insane and then 2 insane spots and then Happy and Pelican that can play the Tracer Sombra at like the top level, like they're just a really well balanced team. Violet on Brig, like the meta is leaning more towards Brig, and I think Violet's better at Brig than he was at Lucio. So I think like yeah, they have like best backline and then Fearless. So and then good DPS too.
Yeah, I wouldn't count out the Florida Mayhem. I think
Yeah.
last time these two teams played in the spring stage as well. Like it did go to map 5 and Houston Outlaws ended up winning, but Florida were up 2-1 in that series, and they had a huge lead on New Queen Street as well. I remember this very vividly because I predicted Florida at the time, and then Jake was just in my face screaming at me at the studio. So that was an amazing time. I could have been very happy if Florida won, but they didn't. But Houston Outlaws should be the favorite, but I'm very excited to see what Florida Mayhem can do the second half as well. I mean, some of their players have had an amazing season so far. Someone still in the running for Roll Star, for example, and that would be a huge award for him. So curious to see what Florida Mayhem can do. Moving on to our second match in the predictions. We got Dante's former team, the LA Gladiators, against the San Francisco Shock without a second damage player. And we all got the Gladiators, who I think should be the favorite here, but
Oh God.
oh God, yes, it's Solomon. A little happy with the trigger finger here, are we? But it is an
Yes.
interesting matchup nonetheless, because you have Gladiators now with a new tank who can play main tanks, but also off tanks, and you have Shock who goes into the second half with a second DPS player we don't know about, but two teams that are looking to get off to a good start here in the second half, because they are expected to sort of compete with Houston and Atlanta, for example. So, any thoughts on these two teams, guys?
I'll start. Yeah, I think with full respect to Dante being here, Marvel and the Winston here is going to be really strong for the team. The fact that we're still in like a Winston meta, that's the expectation. Either Kevster or Yaki on Tracer. Wait, who plays the Sombra in this team again? If you
Yaki plays Sombra.
really choose, I think I need a reminder of that.
Yaki
right.
plays the Sombra.
Like, I think this team is still solid, and I think with Marvel and the Winston will be a really good shout.
For me, I think Gladiators will either be the same or, if not better, agreeing with what you're saying. It's just, I can't be sold on the San Francisco Shock pipeline, especially when I don't even know who the fuck their second DPS is. But at the end of the day, like, it genuinely feels like this team is boomed. So unless they had some serious R&R and they came together as a team and they're singing Kumbaya now, I don't see them getting like dramatically better to cracking that top 3, top 5. As much as I'd love to see them do it because they have good players, it just doesn't feel likely.
I don't trust the sports. Finn Vindane right now, unless that changes. There's a rumor that maybe it changes, but haven't heard anything. Right now, Finn Vindane is not working, and that backline's going to crumble in this meta. It already has, and probably will continue to.
Yeah, I like the thoughts from Albert that he thinks that there's some counterintelligence going on with Shock, and they're just like leaking people like Renko out, and like Vindheim traded to Seoul, and like all this stuff. Who was it? The Vegas support who was rumored to join as well. Like just all over the place. So wow, look at this.
Oh,
Last year's playoffs.
I
LAN.
remember this.
Wow. This is the last time Gladiators played San Francisco Shock. Ooh, we got some insight from Solomon. Thank you for this. Yeah. This was in the lower bracket, right? Was it? In the lower bracket?
I think so.
I don't remember.
Yeah, loses
Oh,
round
wait,
3. Playoffs
yeah.
day 4. And then Shock went on to win. That's when Gladiators didn't know how to play Reaper.
Yeah, they put Kevster on Sojourn.
Yeah.
I don't know why. That's crazy, people. That was
Yeah.
a bad decision.
It's
Like,
weird
I think
meta.
Kev's insane on Sojourn and stuff, but I think Happy was like also insane. I think they just like overreacted because
Yeah.
Like I think they were just like losing to like fuel. Or at least what the players told me is they were like losing the fuel because fearless was just like hard carrying, and they're just like, oh, we need to change things now. We need to change things, and then they like just changed it, and they started losing to like bad teams too because it's like such short notice.
Like they could have finished like top. Like everyone was losing to fuel, right? Like especially in scrims.
Yeah.
Like I remember leading into that playoffs last year. Everyone was losing to fuel. Like literally everyone was like, oh, we need to change something because everyone was losing to fuel.
I think Vindame just got dropped.
Yeah. Wait, really?
Oh, really?
Bro,
Well, it doesn't
why did
affect our
everyone
cred.
change to Wednesday? Like on Tuesday, everyone used to drop everyone when our shows was on Tuesdays. And now it's Wednesday, everyone's like, let's drop everyone
Have I
on
been
Wednesday.
beta or has this happened?
No, that's it. On
it's
San
the
Francisco
official,
shop.
yeah, it's the
there it
official
is.
shop account. They tried their hardest to have us not talk about this on Plat Chat. So, wow. Yeah, I mean, it kind of was in the air for the longest time. I think that everyone looked at the Shock team and said that Vindime is probably the weakest link. And that's not to say that he's a bad player by any means, because we saw a lot last year what he could do on Soul Dynasty. It just wasn't a good fit here. So, damn. I mean, now we don't even know who's playing main support for this team, right? So,
There's two missing spots. We don't know who's in them.
Yeah.
Luke Mino, maybe they believe in him on
Oh, yeah,
Lucio or
that's the name.
something. If they want to do double flex, like I don't know how money situation is, but I doubt they're gonna sign another main support. Like what main supports can they even sign? So I feel like they want to have Luke Mino like play like the main support, kind of how like last year did or something.
Damn, they missed Ojee.
I just don't. Do you genuinely believe, like, because obviously it seems like they want to, like, the assumption is they want to get North American players or like someone who can just get slotted in and come to the facility as soon as possible so they don't have to deal with the visa process. But like, I just don't know, like, Vindame, I understand he's struggling, but he is a good player. Like, there has to be something more going on, because I don't think there are any players available right now that I think are direct upgrades to Vindime in it, like, that are just available, unless they do some big trade and they acquire someone that I'm not thinking of. Like, I'm surprised this move is happening. When we hadn't heard anything for so long, I didn't think this was going to happen, because I thought they looked and they couldn't find anything. But I'm interested to see what they're going to do now.
Yeah.
yeah.
I have no idea, honestly.
I have no idea what they're cooking.
Striker on Lucio.
Strike on Lucio. Hey, you know what team needs a Lucio player? Soul Dynasty. Just saying. We'll
Yeah,
see what
like
happens
I
with
could
that.
absolutely see him going back to Soul. Like, that was the original rumors back in the day, right? Like that Vindam was going to go back to Soul.
Yeah, but also it's just a great fit, and like they won a stage last year on Soul.
Yeah.
So like they've had success in the APAC region, and they underperformed in the playoffs. You know, people were hoping that Soul would be a top contender come playoffs, but they underperformed in the meta, went road dog and stuff in scrims, I guess. But yeah, you know, ironically, our next pred is also about Shock, but we didn't talk about Washington this episode. So I just wanted to do a vibe check on Washington Justice here, really. Now, I don't think it's going to age too well, but I don't remember what I picked. Yeah, this is dumb.
Well,
No,
I
isn't that dumb?
I
This is
feel-
great. This is great. I'm all in on Washington. Let's go. Alpha Yi. Let's go, guys.
Yeah.
You don't have a main support. You don't have a second DPS. I'm in.
I feel less
Guarantee
confident.
this, motherfucker. Let's go, Solomon.
I feel less confident in the Shock than I did 30 seconds ago. So I like, and honestly, Alfie and Flora are just on an absolute tear. Like, they are playing incredibly well. The only issue that I really have with, you know, Washington overall is, like, we did see their inconsistencies last stage. Like, they went from playing really well against really good teams to then, like, losing to, like, random teams, like, in a blowout. So I want to see if they've got their consistency down. Who did they replace?
Dongan. They got Dongan.
Donghun, yeah. Because they replaced
FD.
FD God with Donghun. I think, yeah, like, this team can be good. I hope they've worked out their tank situation. Like, that was really one of my big things that I was frustrated watching Washington last year, is like Ben Best and Mira just trading time on Winston. Like, just pick one. Honestly, like, I don't even care which one it is. Just pick one.
Dongan's, it's going to take a while for him to get to the States, right? I don't know how quickly he can get over. Not Canada.
Yeah, who knows, honestly. I mean, this might have been in the works for quite a while as well. I don't know how fast it... Like, if you want an expedited visa, I don't know how long that takes for these teams mid-season, but we'll see. He's also playing Lucio. No. I'm not trying to slam him
Fucking
here.
just saying that shit. That's crazy.
Look, I'm sorry. I had to. All right, moving on. we talked about both of these teams actually. New York versus London. Who do you think can come out ahead here? We got New York Excelsior with an exciting. Oh, we all went with New York Excelsior. I mean, London were pretty bad in the first half of the season, but New York Excelsior with Ojee. I'm excited. Honestly, I am.
New York got upgrades. What can I say?
I think New York were better than London in the last stage as well. So New York upgraded, and London so far has only detracted from their roster, which might make them stronger, but this just isn't London's meta, as we were talking about earlier.
Yeah, I mean, you can see glimpses of it, right? You can see glimpses when New York plays. Like, they took 2 maps from Shock, for example. Now, questionable how big of an achievement that was, but you can see glimpses in New York's play where you're like, oh, you could compete with some of the mid teams. Did you scrim New York anything, Dante?
During the season, like when I was playing.
Yeah. Like, did you get an impression of this team?
Yeah, I think they're pretty good at the Winston comps. I don't know how good they are at other comps. I feel like they're kind of like weaker, but when they get to play Winston, I think Kellen is like crazy Winston. I think Creative is also really good at Sombra metas, because APAC just played Sombra metas for like 6 years straight. Like the hero was always meta in APAC, and Creative played in APAC his whole career. So I think the way their backline plays was actually pretty good. So I think that if they can like grow Ojee into like being a better player in Tracer Sombra meta, which like my experience playing with Creative, like he's like really smart with like counter nanos and stuff, and like how he plays, like he thinks about how he plays against the Sombra comps well. So I think they'll be pretty solid in this meta. I think they might get outclassed on DPS by some other teams, like with the star DPS players, but I think their backline and tank should be pretty good. So
yeah, I mean, still like Fitz, Shockwave, Psycho. Like, I still think it's a like decent trio, and I think we saw glimpses of all 3 that they're good.
I also think like when the other teams have like Kevster and like Proper and stuff, it's like it's like.
Okay. All right.
It's like they are good, but like there's just so many teams with like Decay, Proper, like Kevster, like there's so many insane, like Stalker, Lip, like there's just insane DPS lines. So it's such a stacked role. So I think it's like it's hard to compete with some of the top ones.
Yeah. Speaking of Decay, we're talking about the Boston Uprising. Wait. Oh, I didn't see that. Say, thank you, someone.
I got you.
Gorgeous.
Don't worry.
Thank you, Custa. You look
what a
great,
grin. Look at
Custa.
Scott. What a grin.
That's a new Twitter profile picture.
What's that claymation show that they used to fucking do? With the
the dog and the old guy.
Yeah.
Oh my God, we have the same vision.
And on the moon.
They're eating the cheese, right?
And it's like Chicken Run. Wallace and Gromit. I look like Wallace from Wallace and Gromit. Yeah.
Somebody to do a side by side with that face and Wallace. Oh my God, that's phenomenal. All right, speaking of Decay, we got next Boston Uprising versus Houston Outlaws. Now, Boston did drop Striker, but I think the most notable change is perhaps Moby Dick as head coach now instead of Dongsu and Jitset.
And they have Kariv.
And they have Kariv as an assistant coach as well. Boston actually making a few changes here, but we all got Houston Outlaws, of course. But I did want to touch on Boston Uprising. Do you think they get better like this? Also, take a picture whenever you want to, someone. I don't care. But do you think Boston actually like improves going into the second half?
I think
Your face looks doubtful. Look at that face of Scott. He's doubtful.
Yeah, it's my job to doubt Boston. Honestly, here's the thing. I'm not doubting Boston, and they're top 4 on our power rankings. I don't think they get dramatically better or worse. Like, Striker literally didn't play for them. I think it's the same meta. They're going to be strong in this meta. Decay's playing like a god on the Tracer. We know Smurf is great at Winston. Like, they have a good roster, and I think they're going to keep going at top 4. I don't see a world in which they ever break into the Houston Outlaws versus Atlanta tier, though. That's sort of the issue I see for them.
Feels like they have the capability. Like, you know, you got the Lee J Gon Brig. You have the Twilight Anna. That's just an absolute god on the era. Smurf Winston competes.
But yeah, okay, I agree with you. That backline, Lee J Gon, Twilight, that's a great backline, right? It's still not as good as Shoe Violet and Fielder Chia, right? Like those duos, in my opinion, are just better. Like, they're great players, but across all the roles, I think they are very good. They're going to be at the top end, and they will be.
I think Boston have the potential, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, I see what you mean, but I don't see that, I guess, is sort of what I'm trying to say. I don't see them getting that high in terms of 1-2. But I don't think they're going to implode, which is great.
Yeah.
That is something they taped up. They band-aided before the second half of the season. We appreciate that. Moving on. We're going over to the APAC region. We're taking a flight. We're going to AVRL's little favorite region here. Guangzhou Charge against the renovated, I guess, O2 Blast. And I think this is going to be pretty obvious too.
I'll start on this one.
Better on paper, and then you looked at the O2 Blast roster and you're like, all right.
Yeah, the whole roster changed. I mean, obviously because everyone got picked up and Marvel and everyone else moved over, Open, etc. Right? So it's too hard to bank on O2 when like their entire roster is. I mean, who are you doing? It's going to be, Lil P. Profit's going to play the Sombra. Who are you's going to play the Tracer? Does that sound really good? Not really.
Yeah.
Protector is normally an off-tank player on the Winston. I'm not feeling that one. Search and Karu. I've never even heard of Karu before.
When AVRL hasn't heard of an APAC player, you're in trouble.
This guy's got a red name on Wikipedia. I don't know. He's a red name. Brother's a red name. I got no idea.
He could be an insane booster. You never know. Like people like that, he's gonna be like the next Violet
from the underground.
Boost, but he's just some crazy Korean booster. I'm calling it.
Yeah. That's how you find some of these APAC talent, right? Yeah.
That's the thing. Sometimes part of me just wants to trust O2 as well. It is O2 Blast. Like, do I just trust them because they're O2? They keep having good rosters, so.
But how long can they keep just like losing talent? Like, surely the well has to run dry eventually, right? Of like available talent because they've just been churning it into the league.
Yeah, it's been 3 years of insane talent for O2. I don't know. Is this the time? I don't know.
Also, wasn't it in the past, correct me if I'm wrong here, AVRL, that like if you were great in Korean contenders and O2 Blast offered you an opportunity to join, you were like, okay, yeah, like I'm down to join O2 Blast. But like a lot of like top dragons and stuff, like they're locked down now. Like you can't just like pick up talent from other great talents. You can't become a super team, so to speak.
I don't know. I don't know what happened to Top Dragon. Maybe things are changing at the same. Top Dragon could have stayed. Maybe he wanted to play with Dreamer or Sad or somebody on that Dreamer squad instead. Maybe he looked at the New O2 Blast and was like, "No, this doesn't look like a good team to me." Personally, I think Top Dragon probably plays a better Tracer than Who Are You, so it would have been that. Yeah, it's perplexing. I don't know. It seems like, to me, it feels like O2 could have gotten better players, but maybe I'm just saying that because if you ask me like who could they have gotten, I don't know that I'd be able to give you a clear answer either. So it's a bit of a weird situation. Yeah.
All right, moving on. We got an exciting matchup in this next one. It's going to be a bit of a banger. The two teams that qualified for the mid-season madness from APAC: Seoul Infernal versus Hangzhou Spark.
This is the best match. Guys. It's going to be a banger.
Okay.
I was tempted.
All right.
I was tempted as well.
If it's going to be Sombra Tracer, I'm locking in the Hangzhou Spark. Already because of the first half of the season, I was always on the Hangzhou Spark train.
This is why I went for the Infernal. Fixer Skewed is just a better backline. They are better. And that was what put them over for me. If it wasn't for that, if I ignore the backline, I'd be way more tempted to go Hangzhou. But if you include the backline, I gotta go Infernal.
Yeah, I think Infernal showed towards the end that they were, for the most part, a better team than the Hangzhou Spark. Maybe if we're in like a hard Sombra Tracer meta, it'll be interesting to see how Infernal hold up in terms of things. But they've been pretty solid at it, so I expect them to still remain good in the East. And Hangzhou, they've gone through some weird stuff. Pineapple support might be the truth for all we know. Maybe Johnny, is that what you're banking on?
Yeah, that's what I'm banking on right there. I have a lot of belief. You just look at Teru last season, for example. Like they just unlock something in these players. Don't ask me about it. They have the mojo, Hangzhou Spark mojo. It's like the crusty crack pipe, but it's that I don't know the Hangzhou Spark freeze bong.
He might be like a multi-role player because they only have 2 DPSs. There is a world where Pineapple also slips into like a second hit scan. Not that I think we're gonna have that kind of meta this year, but I can see why Spark might do this. It's still weird to me though. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, wasn't it last year they benched Alpha E for Pineapple and people were like, wait, where did Alpha E go?
Yeah, they were having some, I don't know, there was some Changoon shit that was going on.
Yeah, that was they were cooking. It didn't work out well. I actually did some research in the off season, and like Hangzhou Spark fans, they were like in despair during that time period where Alpha E was benched, and they were like, "What is our team doing benching Alpha E?" but now Changoon is elsewhere. So we got 3 more matches here, guys. Stay strong. Stay strong. Danteh, he wants to go play ranked, I can tell. Seoul Dynasty.
I want to go sleep. I'm clocked out.
Against Panthera. So
I
we're
don't
just
know anything about APAC either because I don't watch many games these
Call
days.
them a fraud region. Do it.
all right. We all looked in Seoul Dynasty here. Look, I think Heesang is pretty exciting on this team, so it's gonna be good.
I think Panthera is. I look at the team and I'm like, look, Bellistry has had a hard time, but Jasmine's an off-tank player. I don't know how he's going to go on the Winston. DPS is kind of exciting. I think NYXL Becky is really good. So Develop's in there as well, by the way. Just FYI, in case anyone was wondering where Develop went.
No, he's dead to me after that whole the whole Guangzhou charge incident.
Well, he's hanging. He's chilling.
Also, wasn't he on the team with Donghack when they sucked ass in Korean Contenders?
I can't remember. He bounced around a little while. Yeah, he was on 815. I think. Yeah, I think he was on that same team with Donghack and
Yeah,
815.
and their dives were so garbage. I was thoroughly
And that's
unimpressed to see.
why, by the way, I was surprised that Donghack got signed to Atlanta.
Same.
People think I was
Same.
crazy. All these revisionists out there like, oh, AVRL said Donghack was as good. It's like, you guys didn't watch 815 clearly. Anyway, rant aside, I actually think Panthera have a good shot versus Seoul. I'm going off Seoul based on some legacy stuff here. Heesang good, Prophet good. I'd rather have Bellistria than an off-tank player than Jasmine, who knows. But Panthera, I think they got a chance here. Backline's reasonable, and I think NYXL is super, super underrated. Really.
What's Nice done recently? Because he's been around since the beginning of time. Like, so he
he's
took
just
I'm
banging
looking at his
contenders.
Wikipedia page. He took a year off in 2021. It looks like came back in 2022. Played for a
Just
bit
been
of
hanging
T1.
in contenders,
He's been
playing
hanging
T1
out.
mostly.
Oh, London actually announced Sauna officially. Sorry.
Oh, there you go.
Oh,
Let's go,
Oh,
Sauna.
After
the
baiting.
Lady of Venom? Fuck.
It didn't play. Thank you for not playing. Just took an hour. Sorry, I interrupted you there with the nice. My bad.
I was just saying NYXL is underrated, and he's a pretty good player.
I don't see him beating Seoul. I think Seoul should be better. We'll see which APAC team ends up being the team that we think, or at least like trials team coming to the open qualifiers will have a chance to like make it into and compete with these top end. Because like in the past, it was like there was a bunch of teams at the bottom end, but I actually think APAC got stronger over this midseason break. So I think it's going to be harder for them to get through some of these teams.
Yep. All right. We got 2 more matches. Dreamers versus Shanghai Dragons. Now, this is where things get spicy, because Dreamers actually has a pretty interesting team here.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't be surprised if someone went for... we went with the Dragons.
I
Yeah,
wanted
look,
to, man.
Dragons
I was
with
so
Fate.
close.
I'm pumped.
You asked me to do the predictions, and I barely woke up. I was like 10 minutes into waking up, and I was like, "Fuck, who plays on these contenders rosters?" I don't know. I don't know, because I just don't watch that much Overwatch League these days. I only know like what I played in.
Well,
so.
look, as a player, like when you play for an Overwatch League team, you don't have time to watch APAC. Like
Yeah,
straight up, I don't
it's,
think
like,
any
impossible,
player.
yeah.
But now you have to because you're retired.
Oh, I have to.
Yep.
Okay.
There you go. That's the roster,
I
Danteh.
guess I have to.
Memorize it.
All right. Oh, they look good actually.
This dude Sad is decent.
I know.
I think he didn't play for a year though, or maybe I'm mistaken there. I just remember not seeing him on a roster for a little bit. He's not bad. I think Dreamer on this team is pretty decent. I think this entire squad, out of all the contenders teams, it's probably Dreamers and Panther I have the most faith in.
Yeah.
Actually, no, Pokerface as well. Forgot about them. I think three teams from the contender side are looking pretty good. O2 are not looking that great.
What if Dreamer got cut from Dreamers? That'd be
Open
so
Top
funny.
Dragon plays well.
They'd have to rename.
Yeah, but it could be opposite alert here. Maybe we'll see how Shanghai looks. But
Yeah, it comes down to how good Shanghai
Like,
looks.
honestly, I think Fate will change the team a lot. Like,
Yeah, I agree.
especially,
It would be tragic
it would.
I think Custa like knows how Fate
if
is as a
Fate
player.
joins his team and Shanghai still suck. Oh man.
Yeah, I don't know internally how their team is, but I imagine their mentals aren't that good. So I think Fate is also a really good player at like managing other players, like
He
microing
is, yeah.
and stuff. Like whenever he would play ranked, like in the early days, back when like everyone tried in ranked, he'd be like microing like the whole team in ranked. I'm like, holy, this guy's like actually different. Like, he's like really talented. So I think he could bring like good leadership to the team and like just make them play together as a whole. Because if you have 5 people that aren't really good at that, then like a team could be so much worse than like how they are with the one person that is like good at doing that. So I think he could level up the team a lot, and he fills an important hole. So
Yeah, he's a great dive tank. Like, absolutely. Like, he's just gonna. It went from one of their biggest weaknesses to one of their biggest strengths of the team. Like, the question is like how much better Fate makes his team, not if he makes them better.
yeah.
Completely agree. Sometimes people sleep on the aspect of just changing one thing up. That's what I talked a lot about Vegas Eternal in the offseason. It's just like they got Vulcan in, but it's like you need like a big change so like people get like a mental reset and like get hyped to play and maybe something to get some positive momentum. So Fate could maybe be that for the Dragons. Final matchup, again, it's O2 Blast, but just touching on Dallas quickly. Well, a disappointing first half. Hanbin a solo tank for this team. I thought this season would be more about off tank because last season was more about off tank. But clearly, Hanbin hasn't had time to shine in this first half, really. So, hoping for a bit of a comeback story. We all predicted the Dallas Fuel here, but it's not about beating the O2 Blast. I think we all kind of want Dallas Fuel to return to, competing with the best teams somewhat and not struggle at the bottom. So,
well, I'm curious to see how Dallas is going to do because it felt like they were trying to play their own game for a really long time. And if you believe the rumors of what people have been talking about with the meta, maybe it's different in APAC, is that it's leaning even more towards Winston, Tracer, Sombra for this patch. So I would like to kind of see them just full send on the Winston, Tracer, Sombra. As much as they're not good at it, I think it's going to heavily hurt them if they keep trying to play like this strange stuff.
Yeah,
I think it's like a tough ask
I don't know
there.
if Danteh was talking.
Oh, sorry.
I can't hear him at the moment, so.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Go on, Danteh.
I kind of feel like it's a tough ask because I imagine in the beginning of the season that they're like, oh, let's find our style, that we always done that. It works for us, but I think it's just one of those metas that you can't really cheese. Like the Summer Tracer is just too dominant. So I feel like it's a tough ask to like try to go to playing the Winston comp when they were already behind, because it's like Hanbin doesn't have that much experience on Winston. Sombra Tracer, not the best with Edison Sparkle. So I think it's like they avoided it for a reason, and now they have to like pick up extra slack on it. So I think it is a tough ask, but I think they have to do it, or else like it's just gonna be too late by the playoffs time if they like commit to like just cheesing the whole season.
Yeah, and I think that's sort of like the predicament they're in. It's okay. They'll just like make it to the playoffs, and then like Reaper will become meta, and they'll win the league.
Actually,
I'm sure this team. I'm sure Rush will force Lucio Mori at some stage again and make it work.
Yeah.
They'll figure out the rush meta.
I do trust Dallas a little bit more than this new O2 team, though. This new O2 team does not look good to me, so I'll give it to Dallas.
Yeah. All right, and there you have it. 10 Preds to put us on the board going into next week, touching a little bit on all kinds of teams. And we only have one more segment, Danteh, and then you can go to bed. One more segment.
Nice.
It's Brent's. Still Brent's. It's still
Are we
Brent's.
still calling it Brent's Player of the Week?
We are still calling it
I thought
Brent's.
we were changing it.
We had this conversation, but it's a controversial topic. Or should we change it from Brent's Player of the Week? I kind of like it as now. Here we go. The Custa Wallace comparison.
There's someone tweeted this at me. Well, Welby tweeted this at me. So kind of the same.
If you shaved your head, yeah, maybe.
Yeah, if you hit me with some Manscaped products, I'll do it.
How many subs on Twitch would you shave your head for?
I don't think I would do that. I don't think it would have to be like a dumb high number. Because we've done this before where Sabelmore's got really angry at me it was some like charity thing, and I was like, if we hit like some crazy high number, I would shave my head, and we got very close, and it was a worrying moment for my hair. But
I would do that. I mean, it'll grow back.
Yeah, but I don't want to have a bald head.
It's better than eyebrows.
Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely. Like as I said, there is a number. I just I don't know.
Honestly, there's a number for both as well.
Yeah.
Eyebrows and head.
Exactly. We all know what Sideshow's is. So.
Yeah, that's true.
I think my default rate is like 2,000 subs, but that might even be too high for shaving your head. So I don't know.
I got a nomination for Player of the Week. It's
There's
not a
one obvious
person.
one, AVRL. Are you gonna bring it up?
No. I got a different one. This was a little bit targeted. Yeah, it's a little bit targeted, and it's a sleeper pick. And it also it goes into a bit of a question for you as well. So it's a two-parter for me. My nomination for Player of the Week is Overwatch World Cup Team Sweden. Johnny, how do you feel about
Holy
Team
shit.
Sweden in 2023?
You shut your fucking mouth. We're not talking about this. This is unbelievable.
Dude, they needed
I know.
you on the
I gotta get
tank.
an
That's what
answer.
they
I got,
needed.
you know, you're as a
Come on
former
now.
member of Team Sweden, you just
Maybe I want to retire next year, guys. What do you think?
Run
you
it back.
gotta bail them out.
Do I run
You
it
gotta
back
help them out.
2024?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good.
They need you.
8 years since my pro player debut.
You know what
It's
I
like-
found out, Johnny? That
What?
if you get a green card, you can technically play for that country in the World Cup. So you could unretire and play for Team USA and trial against Danteh.
Oh.
Hey, they haven't.
Dante's not
I'm in
scared.
for
You
it.
know,
Yeah.
they got Super, they got Danteh. They're picking up retired players left and right. Maybe pick me
Actually,
up as well.
You're
yeah.
next.
Yeah, and maybe Custa. You know, the
I'll
main
come to a
support.
support.
The main support spot is up for grabs too.
Yeah, we'll trial together. We could change Team
Let's-
USA. We could be the difference makers to put them over South Korea.
A retirement home team? What's going on?
Oh, that guy's so crazy. I have to do that. How about you guys?
All right, we got one in.
I think I could be number 1 on the ranked leaderboard and perform well in scrims, and they were just like, we can't pick Reinforce up. Come on, guys.
we just can't.
Like, it doesn't matter how good I am. Like, they'll like, come on now, we can't do this. I would do it for a clout though. But yeah, maybe 2024. Maybe I do it my return. It can't get any worse, right? So might as well pick me up at this point. Yeah, it was a shame. I still stand Kevster, not his fault, but it is what it is. I did have a suspicion about this, and maybe this is my Swedish pessimism. But I did have, I did just think to myself for a moment, just like, I don't want to sleep on these other European teams. I didn't think we'd lose to like Germany or whatever that team was, but I was hoping that, I did see us losing to Saudi Arabia and, was it Finland? Was Finland in our group? And some of those teams. But
Losing to the Finns, damn.
Damn,
yeah.
that's gonna hurt your Scandinavian
people
pride.
People slept on Finland. I mean, they got Sauna, Cloudy, Vestola, like Masa. Like, that's a great team. People slept on them. This is the obvious candidate. Violet, Bad Pachamori asks, why did he jump though? A screenshot versus Atlanta Rain. And Violet says, I got money.
Is he like shaving points right now in like the Overwatch League? Is that what's happening? He got paid off, or he was just getting money?
There's so many ways
play?
you read into that.
Yeah,
it's such a vague answer as well.
No, he definitely meant he got money for throwing. Like,
Yeah.
knowing Violet, like, that's exactly what he meant.
It's brilliant.
When he threw an investigation.
Funny guy. Hello, Violet.
Yeah.
All right. I think it's just like a default win. I don't even think it's a conversation. I think.
What about our
Violet
new boss,
deserves-
Bill Gates? Do we not want to give it to him? Like start
Well,
on a
he's
high.
not the new boss. He's not. Isn't he retired?
Yeah, but
He's
I'm
still
sure
on the board?
I'm sure he still has sway.
It still has sway.
We're gonna put ourselves on the map as like employees of the month.
Who is the current CEO of Microsoft? I don't
actually
know.
don't even know.
There's the Xbox guy. The Xbox guy I see on my feed all the
It'd be
time.
the boss of Xbox will actually be
What's
the
his
dude.
name?
Fuck, we should
Phil-
know this stuff,
Am I-
guys. We need to read up. We need to study.
Yeah, Phil Spencer. Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. Phil Spencer.
let's-
Hey, love you, man. Hey. If you want to get a coffee, hit me up, Phil Spencer. I'm here anytime. I'm in LA, bro. I live in LA, bro. Let's get coffee. I know a few places. Okay, he lives in Washington. Shit. Maybe you'll be here. When you're here for E3, hit me up, dude. Let's go for
No,
coffee,
here for
Phil.
BlizzCon.
BlizzCon.
I'm sure he's coming
BlizzCon.
through, right? You
You
boss.
mean Microsoft Con
Oh
or something?
God.
I don't know. Anyway. Yeah, are we coming into Violet, guys?
Yeah,
Dante
Violet's
is
good.
yawning.
Violet's
He is out of it. He
Yeah.
That's a hard
tired.
morning of work. Did a
The nap
podcast.
messed me up.
Yeah, there we go. And
Everything was ruined.
I gotta take my dog.
I
out.
lock it in.
Real
I'm
serious.
All
done
right,
with it.
log it in. Let's go, Violet.
Real serious. You gotta go for a little walk.
Oh, Siri.
And then we get rehearsals later this
Aw.
afternoon. She's panicking. Goodbye. All right. Thank you for... Oh, question from Jimmy the Rabbit. Question for the newly married guys. Do you ever wear your wedding rings when you play video games? I do, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not like it's blocking any movement or anything.
It's on our left hand. I think if it was on my mouse hand, it would be a problem. But
Yeah.
the fact that it's on the keyboard hand, you don't really notice it.
Yeah, no, it's fine. I don't know about you, Custa. Like, I just love wearing it. It's an awesome
I do
symbol.
too. It's
It's an awesome symbol.
It's also you get used to it so quickly.
Yeah, I do still feel it like when I
Is
take
it
it off.
metal,
on
or
my
are you going
nose.
to change to the silicone one, or what?
No, I got
No,
mine.
it's gold.
Yeah, I got mine. I can't remember exactly
Just
what
for,
I got.
just for safety reasons, it's fine.
Safety reasons.
Safety.
You guys gotta
there
read
are
up on
those-
that.
Yeah, I've
You
heard.
gotta read up on that.
Was it the silicon ones that I've heard that they get so under like extreme heat or something, they shrink, and then like it's impossible to
Extreme
get off, and then
heat?
it starts like cutting off circulation to your finger. It's something. It's real bad. I remember hearing something like that about certain rings.
The metal ones you could get into an accident. I don't know. I'm not want to jinx anything, but for safety, a lot of people go to rubber. They don't wear the metal ones.
Oh,
Nah,
now
they're
I'm
right.
fucking paranoid for the rest of my life. Thank you, bro. All right. Well, I'm wearing it for now. I'm playing Diablo. I don't think it's that high risk.
It's not that bad.
Yeah.
Not that deep.
I don't think I'm risking anything. But yeah, fucking spiritual materialism, poggers. Anyway, Plat Chat Member episode 185. We'll see you next week when the first matches conclude of the second half of the season. Thank you, Danteh, for being on. Enjoy your nap, bro.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Thanks,
Yeah.
Danteh.
It's a great time. Goodbye,
All right.
everybody. We'll see you next week.
Thank you.
Bye.
See you, everyone.